Hello.
And
Yay.
my mic should be good to go. Can anyone in chat can verify if you can hear me? At least it should be okay, theoretically. Okay, so mic should be good. Browser audio should be good. Blah 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 blah. All good. Thank you. Ooh, you know what I should do? Let's put some background music to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, something ambient. You are the author of this book that I'm about to read. What kind of music do you think would work here the best?
Um, if you give me maybe 30 seconds, depending on how scuffed you want this to be, I have my own background music.
Oh, okay.
Okay, which one? I have two versions of it. One of the spooky, one of the less spooky.
Yuki of Snow, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that.
Yuki! Oh, so you remember that gentleman I mentioned who designed my outfits just because he's a absolute mad lad?
Yeah.
That's Yuki.
Wow, very nice. Neon Pixel, thank you for the follow as well. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Neon! Hey, bro.
Sivna sounds double. Interesting. Where could you be getting that from?
This
Discord audio is
Okay, here we go.
getting from the Dragon
Okay, it's a little
Council.
spooky, but please just send. Don't make me zip it. Please just send. Okay, your music
Actually,
is loading.
let's small echo. Oh, I think I know what it is. I'm using speakers. Let me get my headset.
Oh no!
Testing, testing.
Hello, I can hear you fine.
Awesome, cool. I can hear you well as well. So, let's turn you up a little bit for myself. Maybe turn down some Discord a little bit. Maybe you a little bit more. Okay, so, chat, is the echo gone? I hope it's
Hello,
gone.
kitty. You're my way. Hi, baby.
All good? Alright. Perfect. And then you sent me some music for this.
I did.
Should I put this on the VOD or
not? It is commissioned, so I do have commercial rights for it, so you may put it on the VOD.
Awesome. Also, Astaroth Tenebrous. Astaroth Tenebrous. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Also, for some reason, I can't hear. Uh-oh. I think I know what's happening. My audio is poopy. Hold up. Scuff
Oh, no.
to the max. We're scuff maxing.
Scuff max.
Turn default disable. Hello. Testing.
You still sound. I mean, you sound the same to me.
There we go. Now you sound better. You're crystal clear. Crisp. All right. How do I do this? I gotta enter audio into here, so I gotta go.
Yeah, just audio capture. Then choose the file, or if you have it saved, and then hit loop. Because I just did the shorter version because I don't think it would let me send the 12-minute auto looping one for 12 minutes over Discord without compressing it. So.
Okay. Believe it or not, Sivna, and maybe you might be invited to this at some point. We'll see, because I've only started interacting with you a little more. But I am trying to do a D&D game that is going to be very, not serious, but I'm going to be putting my all into it. And I'm thinking of getting some commissioning some music. So I would love to see if I can contact to this person, maybe get some audio for this.
I will reach out to Eska and let him know. Specializes in lo-fi stuff, but he has been branching out and doing other stuff. I think he actually dropped like a proper album not too long ago, so.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I've gotten 3 pieces of music from him. He did my old stream music, and then when I did my 2.0, I'm like, okay, I want more spookier stuff. And I wanted like a spooky one and then a less spooky one, so he gave me 2 versions of it for basically the price of one, which was so phenomenal.
Nice.
So, Eska at Barista Beats, he is such a precious gentleman. Love him.
Ooh, I just turned the music to audio and monitor. That's a good beat.
Yeah. It is.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're just about ready. We got the background music, which is just hovering underneath our voices, so nothing too overwhelming. Anyone in chat, if you can verify if you want this louder or quieter, let us know. And then my voice, I guess, is gonna be there. Okay, my mic is good. Your mic is good. Music is playing. It's not too loud. I think we're about to get ready. I mean, to get started. Ugh, I kind of want to turn down the lights on VTS too. I just want to go all out, but it's like we're already like half hour in. Is there a way to just like quickly turn off the lights in VTS?
I mean, there's like the display lighting too. If your screen is dark, I'm not sure how else you would do that.
I just know that there's a way to like filter so that VTS looks like it's darker.
Oh wait, I think I know exactly what that is.
Scene lighting customization. What is that?
Hello cat. Probably exactly what you're looking for. Kitty, move. I love you, my boy, but I'm busy. Sorry, we'll have periodic interruptions from my kitty. I apologize.
Understandable. Settings. Oh, okay. Settings, second tab. And you can manually edit the lighting. Can I now?
Whoa.
Blink sensitivity, quality effects, sect resolution, visual effects. Is it visual effects? Probably not. Oh, display lighting. Here we go. Ooh, okay. So let's turn this down lower. Wait, it's not doing that. Nothing's changing.
So display lighting is it'll like overlay like lights and colors from your display. So like if you're like playing like a horror game, it'll put the lighting on your model like as if you're like in the atmosphere of the horror game. So not so much display lighting, unless you like have your monitor black.
Okay, so I don't know how to do that then. Overlay?
I'm trying to remember where it is.
I don't know. This doesn't do anything. I'm just like doing some sliding.
Visual effects. Okay, hold on. Do that. Set effects. Let's stop with the kitty. Oh God.
What does this do? No.
Ah, so there is. What's the vignette? Effect on. Oh, right. Okay, so. Bear with me here.
Oh, there we go.
Did you find it? I was about to.
I think.
The VFX.
No, I was in display lighting. So now we're dimmer, but then
I see.
It looks weird.
Yeah. Backline outline. Oh, that's atmospheric.
Weird. I don't like that.
So if you go like just above display lighting, you see visual effects, the VFX thing.
Okay.
So if you turn that on, there's a whole bunch of effects there. I'm playing with a couple of them. The backlight outline might kind of work. What's the background shift?
Kind of. The thing is, my background is brighter than us.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, if there's a way to like darken the back room, I guess.
I don't. I mean, if that's not through VTS, then I don't know how you would do that.
It's a color selector for display lighting because you make it green. Oh wait, for background. Oh, I can kind of make it hazy. I don't know if that's better or not. Is this nicer or is this worse? I don't know.
Ooh.
Model
a little
color
bit.
darken.
I kind of like it. Like kind of feels like more isolated, which is kind of spooky.
I don't really want to darken us though because
yeah,
we want to look good. Background color darken. Yeah.
Oh, as he
go.
just sent me what he has for it. Oh, so in your display, yeah, so under display lighting, you can configure your own personal color, so you can make it dark. Yeah. Oh, kind of, maybe. I don't know. I'm watching the stream delay, so I.
I'm just gonna go back to the backlight and outline because I think I had something decent going on there.
Okay.
So I'm gonna blur the background. I'm gonna turn the. Oh god. We're gonna do this.
We love the scuff. Scuff is great.
Background darken. We're gonna backlight strength is. Yeah, that's fine. How about that? I think this might be okay. Actually, we'll make us lighter. The back we're not gonna blur. Man, I don't know. I can't decide. I'm indecisive as hell. This is it. This is it. We're done. We're good. I'm done with this. We're no more. No more. Okay, so now that we're finally officially starting.
We made it there.
That only took 15 minutes. All right. We'll get started as if we had just started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dragon's Cabin. My name is Winter Rain, Ice Dragon VTuber, Dungeon Master, and Variety Gamer. And with me is a dear friend, Sivna, from the Dragon's Council. Sivna, can you introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are and where they can find you?
Of course. I am Sivna Repose. I stream here on Twitch at SivnaVT. I go between streaming Final Fantasy XIV raiding and more so recently my League of Legends Iron Queen adventures, where I am, after 10 years of playing the game, finally delving into ranked and just being very cringe about it.
Nice.
Yes.
All right, so as you've probably seen at the title, today we're going to be reading through the initial draft, I would say, of the new book that is coming out.
Coming out is bold, ideally.
One that you will soon publish.
One that I will aim to publish. No present time frame. But
it's a work in progress, nonetheless.
Very much so.
All right, so before we dive in, can you tell us a bit about this story that you've written?
Yes. So, funnily enough, the initial idea for it actually came to me in a dream, which you will find is quite thematic, as dreaming and the like is very much a theme of the tale being told. So it's an eldritch, more so mystery currently. I do want to dial up the horror on it. But it basically follows the life of a young adult named Asta, who is part of a family. It's basically a cult who has a connection to an eldritch being, which is basically like sentient god stars. There's a total of 5 of them, and her family is connected to one of them, and just her journey, like figuring out what that is after her mother leaves her dad, and just trying to navigate her connection to an unknowable eldritch god star.
That sounds like a lot to take in for this character.
Yes, she goes through it.
All right. Go ahead.
I did want to say, because I did mention just before we went live that I do already have some changes planned. I was quickly discussing the beginning with my brother, because he's also a writer I respect. He hasn't really published anything, but he's also like very much like a D&D DM creative, so I did value his input. He's only gone through the beginning, and I did want to review and go through the beginning chapters. So what we'll end up reading today will be greatly changed in the coming bits. So this is like the beginning and the end of the beginning. This will be read today and then be forever changed. So one of a kind moment here, I suppose.
Yeah, a little bit of a snippet of what a taste, if anything. So, which means when the book does come out, you'll get a different experience from when you are than just hearing me talk about it. Okay, so guide me through this document, because you said that we're going to. Where should we start? At recollection?
Yes, the recollection is effectively chapter 1.
All right. So, audience, you're gonna have, and VOD watchers, you're gonna have to forgive me because my voice does not go very high. So I will try my best to portray this character as best I can.
Yes, I wrote it, but I did not have confidence in actually doing the reading myself. And also, Winter just has an excellent voice, even if he is reading a female perspective. It's fine.
Oh, thank you. I think I'm a little shorter. Hold on, there we go. There we go. To bump myself up a little bit. Okay, so let's get started then. So, to those listening and to those watching the VOD, sit back and relax as we bring you through this novel that's very much enshrouded in eldritch horror and mystery. So, Book 1, Recollection. Mom was pregnant when she and Dad got married, but it wasn't a bad thing. It's not like the baby... I already fucked up.
It's okay.
I feel nervous all of a sudden. Mom was pregnant when she and Dad got married, but it wasn't a bad thing. It's not like she was baby trapped. It's not like she baby trapped him or anything. They were already engaged, planning the wedding, and even I guess they got a little carried away. I've seen the photos. Mom was gorgeous. There was even her retailer dress cupping the growing mass in her belly. Everyone insists the wedding was perfect. They were perfect. I still watched Mom walk out the door. I've come to understand it wasn't the wedding that was the problem. It was the honeymoon. My grandparents all came together and set up my parents on a cruise through the South Pacific Ocean. It was strange growing up, hearing about the cruise because they didn't visit any exotic islands or tourist traps. The whole cruise was centered around a place called Point Nemo, which I thought was stupid. Why would some cartoon clownfish get a piece of the ocean named after him? And why did my parents want to go? Of course, having Mom use the cruise as a way to spin bedtime stories for me, I gradually understood it was not some weird, real-life Disney experience or something. Multiply that with getting older and having the ability and resources to do basic research, I eventually discovered Point Nemo is the area furthest from any of the land masses, the most remote place on Earth. I still don't know why my parents wanted to go there, or why my parents thought it was a good honeymoon idea, but it did help me understand why Mom's no longer around. While the wedding was perfect, the cruise went a little differently. The first leg, heading out to the point, went smoothly. Clear water, fancy meals, quality time in a luxurious cabin. When they made it to the turnaround point, still a few dozen or so miles from the exact coordinates of Point Nemo, something strange happened. Mom and Dad both tell it differently, and Dad's telling is a parrot of the press release. Freak nautical activity throws local woman overboard on honeymoon cruise. Despite the headline, they both rave about how perfect the weather was for the entire trip. Yet, Dad insists some crazy waves rocked the ship while Mom was gazing at the water, leaning against the railing. She was apparently admiring her beauty from afar. Then, the entire thing shook, and she was gone. Of course, the crew immediately responded since the weather was so clear. The rescue was almost pathetically easy. She must have only been in the water for a minute. I hated how everyone took this story as a fact, despite how ridiculous it sounds when you actually think about it. Thankfully, Mom was more honest. I didn't see Dad a whole lot in my early years, big career making his days extra long. He made time for me where he could. It's not like he was a bad father. But Mom was always around, something about her receiving royalties from some book she wrote before meeting Dad. Neither of them ever talked about it. Oh, let me read it. Too old for you, I was told every time I asked. She was an amazing storyteller, though. Proved it every night, never needing a children's book to lull me to sleep with the tall tales of the fantastical. She would tell me the names of the stars, as ridiculous as some of them were. Like if you handed an infant a keyboard and turned the nonsense typed into names and words. They made me laugh every time she would make a grand telling of the adventures and aspirations of the lights in the night sky. How they moved through the darkness of space and illuminate each other, making vast formations. Amazing things would happen. Well, she called them amazing. I always laughed. She would spin tales of the sky turning pink, of the moon getting close to Earth. You could basically reach out and touch it. Sometimes she would get carried away and scare me, telling about how the oceans would turn into a deep, inky green that could no longer reflect the stars, lights, and funny names. My favorite bedtime story was one she would tell me every new moon. The only story that I knew wasn't fake. What really happened during their honeymoon. I don't know how old I was the first time she told me the truth. For all I know, she was telling me this story the day I was born. The first time I remember hearing it, I was scared, worried for my beloved mother. See, the thing was that, See, the thing... I can't read the sentence, hold on.
That is a weird sentence, I'm sorry.
See, the thing that was correct about the real story was that it was a truly beautiful day outside. She wasn't gazing just at the water, but towards the Point Nemo itself, just too far from the ship to take her all the way. Snapped out of her thoughts as the ship lurched slightly as it initiated the sharp turn for the return trip. She threw herself into the water. I remember crying, but the first time she told me, I was too young to fully understand the implications, but I knew it was bad for the people to be in the ocean like that. She pulled me into a warm hug, caressing my back as she continued. It wasn't scary. Her voice was so calm. I'd never forget how her words sank into my ears, settling like a round pebble at the bottom of a pond. It wasn't scary. She closed her eyes and she let her body sink, while the ship turned into an uproar of panic and confusion. Only once her vision turned red behind her eyelids did she open them. Filling her vision in the cold abyss were a flutter of soft green lights. Her movements slow against the pressure of the entire Pacific upon her. She opened her arms in a welcoming hug, smiling that perfectly motherly smile that greets me every morning and guides me to a slumber every nightfall. One of the funny star names rolled from her lips, lost against the flood of salty water that pushed against her words and lungs. Still, she smiled as she completed the embrace, and all the lights followed the motion, moving into her chest before going dim. Moments later, the rescue team from the ship made contact and swiftly brought us back to the surface. Something about the way she spoke about the lights, the way the ocean water pressed upon her body like an otherworldly embrace. Her words enchanted me like none of her other stories. This is what really happened on their honeymoon. It felt familiar, like I was in the water with her, seeing the lights, feeling the same pressure. She was still pregnant with me at the time, so in a way, I was. I'm gonna pause right there because that's a lot to take in. Because if anyone did not know, this is my first time reading this too, so I'm just as enthralled as the events taking place here as you are. Wow, so something's with Point Nemo that the mother was communicating with, or somehow interacting with, and she felt the need to jump into the water itself. Interesting. Okay, where was I? Am I right here? Because you can see my mouse, right?
Right here.
Okay. All right, let's continue. When Mom was still around telling me her stories, I would excitedly try to retell them to Dad. I always wanted us to be part of this magical, starry world my mother had created. She never really engaged, just politely agreed and then looked daggers at my mother. I asked her one night, before I hit the double digits, why Dad didn't like her stories. She brushed it off, saying Dad wasn't really like the stars, and that her stories and the world within were our little secret. I stopped trying to talk to Dad as much after that, opting to run and whisper around our starry escape. It was harmless, childhood fun, until Dad started moving his own hushed conversation with her. She didn't look as happy around Dad anymore. It was always quiet, pulling her aside during family events after dinner, just outside my door during bedtime. She was quiet too during her last bedtime story. Dad asked her to leave. I didn't understand why he hated the stars and their funny names that he could speak as easily as my own. She told me the story of tomorrow, of how she'd leave after breakfast to go live with her parents in their ancestral home in Boston, across the country in our Californian villa. How hard it would be for me to see her again, even after I turned 18, which was another 5 years away at this point. I was confused and hurt, but the worst thing she said was not to hold any anger against my father. She wanted me to still love him and be a good daughter. I told her I would, but I didn't mean the words. They simply rolled from my lips in a desire to ease her sorrowful smile that sat like a pit in my chest. Oh. Mamathus VA. King of Swing.
Manny.
Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that.
Hi, Manny. Welcome in.
Manny? That's their nickname?
Yeah.
Hello, hello, and welcome to the Dragon's Cabin. Let's continue. Her next words were barely a whisper, one I couldn't hear, but I felt them, and that's what they meant as she pressed her wedding ring into my shaking hands. Grandma made a big deal out of it, the rare time she saw each other. It was her ring once, and her mother's before, and so on, and many generations. There was a warmth to the ring that wasn't my mother's, a presence passed down from generations of my maternal history I was never taught. I didn't see her lips move, but I understood the message as she gripped my hands now sheltering the ring. A feeling of unease washed over me with the determined, desperate look in her eyes. Dad cannot have the ring. She wiped my tears and placed a kiss so gentle on my cheek it felt like she was already a ghost. I watched her leave my bedroom, closing the door behind her without looking back at me. He didn't say anything, but I saw how intently Dad was staring at Mom's hands, her missing ring. I could tell he wanted to say something, occasionally glancing at me, but as far as I knew, I was still in the dark about Mom leaving. Until she finally left, right after breakfast, like she said. I think I scared Dad because I didn't cry. I didn't even really feel sad, feeling the ring pressed against my thigh comfortably tucked in my jean pocket. Things didn't really change after Mom left. Dad started working long hours as it turned out Mom's book was really helping with the daily expenses, so I saw him even less. I quickly picked up a habit of listening to audiobooks before bed. Sure, they reminded me of Mom, but I also had this desire to hear about the other worlds beyond our own. New stories, new realities in the minds of others, like the one in mine, the one my mother passed to me. This is also when I picked up stargazing, looking into astrology, as disappointing as it was. Yeah, the universally understood star signs and their names felt so foreign, and no matter how hard I tried, I could find no thread leading to the names my mother taught me, despite pointing many of them out in the sky. These threads and questions lead me to the final habit that feels as if inherited from my mother. My part-time job at a local antique store. So I guess this is the next chapter with this little segment there.
Yes.
Did someone activate single? Oh, I was supposed to delete that. I was supposed to delete that redeem. My bad.
Single gun.
That was actually a test. I was teaching a friend of mine how to do redeems. Here, I'll do this one for free because this is what it originally came from. Let me just this one. I do this when I play cowboy games. Reach for the sky.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
I might have to get you to show me how to do that because I do not know, but that is amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. Oh, but the problem is I don't know how to like re-shrink myself after that, so I gotta manually.
Oh, I see.
I'm still learning about VTS.
Oh,
okay,
great.
I'll hydrate. Give me a second.
Ooh, double hydrate. Yes.
I will hydrate using gamer subs that you too can get 10% off your entire purchase by using code HOLLOW.
Amazing.
Awesome. Okay. I actually needed that with all this reading.
Yes,
exactly.
Is very important doing voice things.
Okay, so next chapter. Or rather, Civ, did you have anything that you wanted to share, a little more insight about that chapter, which, again, as mentioned before, will change once your book does come out?
Yeah, so sure. Let's go into what I'm actually going to planning on changing. I'm going to rewrite almost that entire section to be from the mother's perspective.
Ooh.
Because she does kind of become an ethereal figure through the rest of the story that exists so far.
Mm-hmm.
So originally when I first started writing, I did want to have basically all of it from Asta's perspective. That is, I haven't dropped her name in the first chapter yet, but, so her name is Asta.
Mm-hmm.
And I initially want it to be all from her perspective because that was an issue I have with writing, is I don't like changing perspectives. But it got to a point where I'm like, okay, to develop this the way I want to, I need to have multiple character perspectives. So I think the scrolling. Yes, so the third chapter is our first perspective shift. To neither of the introduced characters. By that point, we will get introduced to them in the second chapter here. But yeah, I'm thinking now that since I am opening the door to having perspective shifts, and they're not super disclosed, mind you, they're kind of sometimes just in a chapter as you're reading, wait, this is an Asta we're hearing about. It's something that the reader does kind of have to piece together. Is it wait a minute, I'm trying to write them all ever so slightly differently with how they refer to certain things, show their personalities through their separate perspectives. Just giving the readers some legwork to do. So yeah, I want to rewrite all of Recollection from the mother's perspective, being on the honeymoon, actively throwing herself into the water, once again retelling, and then having asked to be able to maybe reference that in future sections of the tale as it continues. So that's the main thing that's going to change there. And then I don't know how far we're gonna get today, but the ring plot, I've kind of abandoned the ring plot.
Okay, I see. Yeah, because
there was.
Why can't Dad have it? What's going on with the ring? Is the secret entity is that part of it? Is that a subplot? Oh.
It definitely was going to be, and then it was as we go through investigation, the second chapter, it's definitely used quite a bit, and that one is a form of tension and driving force, and that is stress between Asta and her father. I'm just it's, but beyond investigation, I think I referenced it in 3 chapters later, but it's I forgot about it, I'll be completely honest. So that's the thing about writing 4 chapters, taking a 3-month hiatus, and coming back and trying to remember all the things you had on the way.
Yep. That's it. Reminds me much like writing my own D&D sessions, because something will happen, I'll be hey guys, let's take a break, and it'll be 2 months, and we'll come back, and then my DM will say, hey Winter, what about this thing that I have in my inventory? And I'll be the what?
Yeah, exactly.
You have a plot device in your pocket and I didn't know. Yeah, exactly.
So as we continue on, the ring plot, it has been abandoned.
Okay. The fact that you're gonna swap the recollection chapter to the mother's perspective does intrigue me, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious how are you gonna shape that, because like there is an air of mystery since it's being retold by the daughter.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see.
So it's going to play as more of like, because again the perspective shifts are kind of jarring. So throughout like the revised recollection, like through the mother's perspective, it will feel, because there'll still be the air of mystery, because obviously she already knows like all of why she's doing things, so she's not going to explain it in like her expository, like the way I write it. She's not going to really expose any of the mysteries, but let's just like be like a very in the know character, obviously, because she knows what she's doing. She is already like deep in the mystery that her daughter later has to discover. So it's going to be like a method to give the readers knowledge over the main character once she takes control over the story.
Of course. Also, just before they leave, unless they already did, what was her nickname again?
Manny. Or Mammoth, whichever the one.
Mammoth. Okay. Manny, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night and a even better tomorrow. Have a good night. And remember, stay frosty. Alright. Shame that the Gamer Slime nuggies are finished. I hope you get a refill at some point. That sucks.
Man, AG, you didn't even share. I'm offended.
I mean, can you blame them? It's nuggies.
Yeah, but it's me. Come on.
Gotta pay the nuggy tax. In that case, shall we continue?
Yes, but give me one moment. I think I just noticed a typo with a name, and I have to double check.
Okay.
I'm going to be very upset. Where is it? Man, that does such a great name.
I'm shrimping like a freaking crustacean.
Oh yeah, posture check yourself.
Oh Lord, I see some of the names. You're gonna help me with some of these.
I will. That's another one to be here. Okay, I wrote the name wrong in like my character, in like my behind the scenes character bios. I wrote her name wrong. God, I'm amazing at this. Okay. Yes.
We good to go?
I am good to go, yes.
All right. Carrying on. Investigation. Second chapter. I realized alongside the chiming of the copper bell hung above. I'm sorry, what did I just read? I realized alongside.
Release.
There we go. That's why it was weird. Like, what the? I released. Oh, you know what? Let me wipe my glasses. Maybe it's all the sweat from gaming earlier. I don't know. I wasn't gaming. I was playing Minecraft.
Hey, that's gaming. That's hardcore gaming.
Is it though? I was just making a furnace. Okay. That's it. I gotta lock in, as the children say. Okay. I released a long sigh as the chiming of the copper bell hung above the storefront chimed happily. Closing my leather journal and tucking it under the desk, I turned my gaze towards the patron. Welcome to Akali's Antiquities, whose history can we help you inherit today? That's catchy. I want to say that right now. That's catchy.
Thank you for pointing that out. I was actually so proud of that.
It's actually very also, anyone who has turned up the volume and whatnot, because I'm trying to be soft-spoken, and then just me ringing your ears with my loud-ass voice. I'm so sorry. I haven't done ASMR before. And also, I'm reading this book for the first time. So please forgive me. Welcome to Akali's Antiquities, whose history... Welcome to Akali's Antiquities, whose history can we help you inherit today? Like second nature, the store's greeting fell flat out of my mouth as my eyes tracked their silhouette through the tall, crowded glass cabinets that every household, every kind of knick-knack, forgotten heirloom, failed art projects, and various religious reliquaries. Something for everyone, or absolutely no one. He gradually made his way to my desk, nestled in the back of the store. Objectively terrible design from a retail view, but we can't carry what you call valuable antiques. Right. Hi. He started as he finally stood across the desk from me. He looked about my age, but was less confident with his slightly slouched posture, fuzzy ginger hair pointing in all directions with a wrinkled button-up and faded jeans. I'm looking for a book. I chuckled and passed a glance to the wall to my right, towers of dusty tomes lining shelves from floor to ceiling. Going to need a bit more to go off there. I pinched a piece of air between my fingers, returning my gaze to him. His eyes were green, too. He quickly dug into one of his pockets, pulling out a wrinkled slip of paper. I'm gonna say this wrong. The author is Laren Nicotine, he mumbled as he squinted at the piece of paper. I rolled my eyes and reached out for the paper, grazing his hands as he handed it over. They were cold. I shrugged it off as I peered at the scrawled text, my eyes immediately going wide. He nailed the first name, but it was all too familiar with the last, and its common mispronunciation. Would you like to say how this is pronounced first?
Yes, it is Lorraine Noctane.
Lorraine Noctane. Ooh, does that just roll off the tongue? Lorraine Noctane. That sounds like a, what do you call it? It sounds like a perfume bottle.
It does.
Lorraine Noctane by L'Oreal. I closed my eyes and let out a long sigh, hearing my guest shift nervously as I composed myself. It's pronounced Noctane. The first K is silent, and you don't hit the long E. I handed the paper back to him. And no, we don't have any books with that name. I sighed, knowing I've already checked at least a dozen times. But you didn't even look, and there's so many books over there. I was surprised by the sudden power in his voice, so he really wanted to find whatever book this was. How do you think I know how to pronounce that mess of a name? He stopped his rambling and shrugged. It was my mother's name. Mine as well, I suppose. I glanced to the side, the memory of Dad taking me to have our surnames changed after Mom left smoldering in my mind. Another piece of Mom he tried to take away from me, but I still use it, despite the nickname it's given to me at school. No way. He stared at me like a deer in headlights. His eyes were so bright I felt like I was dancing underwater with those lights again. You're a chain smoker? I just about punched him. I'm trying to like swapping between the two genders for voices. It's like I have to know who's talking first.
If you want, I could, for these exchanges, I could take up Asta's lines.
It's up to you.
I don't want to make this decision.
It's okay. I'll just keep going because
Okay,
at the
okay.
the worst case scenario, I'll just voice it the exact same way.
Okay.
Okay. He stared at me like a deer in headlights. His eyes were so bright I felt like I was dancing underwater with those lights again. Oh, you're a chain smoker? I just about punched him. Shit, sorry, you probably hate that. His hands were up, waving defensively. Yeah, I am, and yeah, I do. Thanks. He still didn't look familiar, but if he knew that name, he must have gone to the same school sometime recently. So, what's the deal with this book? Curiosity got the better of me. I remember Mom having written a book, but Lorraine wasn't my mom. I never heard of a Lorraine in a family before. I'm back to wishing I could call Mom. Oh, it's nothing. He cut himself off, staring at me. The immediate memory that the book he's looking for was written by one of my ancestors, removing any chance of him getting away with a half-assed answer. Could we not talk about that here? He shifted nervously. It's a lot, and you probably think I'm crazy, but I guess you'd have the right to know. He trailed off, avoiding my gaze. So, tomorrow then? I crossed my arms, knowing I was able to pick up a closing shift after school today since it was our beloved Friday. He gave me that stunned look again. Those damn eyes. It's the weekend. Sorry, but I made a show of checking him out. You don't exactly look like you're busy. I couldn't tell if he was started blushing because of my sudden examination, or because he was embarrassed I was right. There's a cafe next door. I broke my gaze away from him. We could meet there, I said flatly, the weight of his discovery starting to sink in. 5 o'clock? I'm not a morning person. I shot him a sideways glance just in time to catch him nodding slowly. I'd rather not keep calling you, you know. He kept folding his hands into each other. You can call me Liam. Liam Novik. Clumsiest introduction ever. I felt myself smirk. Asta Reset, I returned. Dad's name now, I offered, easing the confusion on his face. Pleasure to meet you, Asta. Seeming to relax, he gave me a soft, genuine smile. I'll see you tomorrow then. He slowly turned, making ready to weave his way back to the narrow aisles. Tomorrow then. The bell rang again as the door clicked shut. A long breath escaped my lungs as I placed my head in my hands, resting atop the desk. Here I thought I had all but reconciled with the mysteries of my mother and her family history I knew less than a shadow of. Echoes of bedtime stories and fantasies that made me a social outcast when mixed with my inquisitive nature. Now, suddenly I'm confronted by a familiar stranger that's trying to dig up my family's history. I chuckled at the store greeting illuminated I chuckled as the store greeting illuminated in my mind. Oh, I had to stop there for a second. Whose story can we help you inherit today? I never thought it'd be my own that I would be asked to sell. My body felt heavy, knowing I had my eyes pressed into my palms for too long, as those green lights began dancing under my eyelids. The pressure crept around my waist, embracing me and removing the air from my lungs. I snapped my eyes open, forcing them to take in the natural light from the windows, while my arms fell from the desk, reaching under for my thermos. My head tilted back, taking a long drink of my still steaming coffee. The bitterness bit my tongue, but it was better than letting a taste of salt settle my senses. The rest of the evening at the shop was quiet, like most nights. A pair of horror enthusiasts came around, giggling like harpies as they pursued their mundane items, going on about how they must be haunted, waiting to bring all forms of misery to whoever dare takes them home. They didn't even acknowledge my existence, nor did they buy anything. Typical. Akali didn't stop by today. I'm glad she trusts me enough to basically run the place on my own. A low ring emanated from the grandfather clock in Akali's office, directing my eyes to the ancient pocket watch left on my desk. 10 p.m. Time to close shop. I left the back locked after I arrived after school with how rarely I needed to go back there, so all that was left was me to secure the register, killing the front store lights, and locking the door behind me. Within the next 5 minutes, I was boarding the bus to take me home. I set my head against the window and grimaced. I didn't tell Dad I picked up an extra shift today. His silhouette was clear on the porch lounger as I approached my childhood home, the bus still leaving a few blocks away. I took a deep breath as I pushed through the front gate and groaned from the motion. Dad was able to afford the property on his own, but maintaining it was another story. My steps were as light as I cleared the porch steps, ready to meet his disapproving gaze. I stared at him with a moment, my anxiety starting to fade as I realized he had fallen asleep. Adjusting my bag so it sat higher on my shoulder, I gently shook him. Hey, Dad, I'm home. It's late, so let's talk inside. My voice was low, carrying a gentleness that only he got to hear. His body stiffened as his voice widened, almost scared, but it quickly faded. His hand joined mine on his shoulder in a firm but gentle grip as he exhaled his stress. No, we both had a long day. Letting out a low groan, he forced his stiffened body up from the lounger, keeping a reassuring grip on my hand as it fell to his side. Miss Akali called me. Said you wanted to close tonight. I think he smiled, and it was hard to tell in the dark, but I could feel his gaze upon me. Protective. I felt myself smile as I went from the door with my free hand. We quickly exchanged goodnight wishes, then went to our respective rooms. Tossed my bag into a corner, I fell into my bed, staring up at the ceiling still decorated with dimly glowing plastic stars. A sad smile crossed my face as I recalled begging Mom to put them up for me, and the many nights we laid together, pointing and reciting their names. Her names. The day's events quickly followed the memory, threatening to pull me back into the mystery that was my maternal family. I rolled onto my side, staring at the jewelry box atop my dresser, questioning if I'd really wanted to go down this path I had only recently given up on. Now I finally have a lead. A feeling of determination washed over me as I made my way to the jewelry box, a gift from Dad while we were still a happy family. It had a tall side section covered by a glass door, embossed with a blooming rose that housed a carousel to hang necklaces and other chain accessories on. To its right was an array of matte black drawers, 2 wide on the bottom, stacked with 2 sets of smaller drawers half the size, all hiding felt interiors designed to protect whatever was placed within. The smaller drawers in particular were designed to hold either rings or earrings, having specific indents on the material to keep them in place. I reached for the top, narrow drawer next to the glass door, one meant for the earrings. Sure enough, a rainbow of expensive jewels met my gaze, shining even in the darkness of my room, all begging to decorate my features. They were all too bright for my liking. Pressing my finger against the interior of the door, my nail lifted the shaped housing that held the jewels in place. This was designed to pin the backs to the earrings, but there was still a fair amount of space beneath, enough to hide a small object. I thought I was being clever when I set Mom's wedding ring within, only for it to disappear within the first year she was gone. The empty space snarled at me, the failure of my mission gnawing at my sides, followed by the pain of how I screamed at my dad after its disappearance. My eyes tickled as a flurry of discarded emotions flooded my closed heart. How I missed Mom, how Dad made her leave, and then took the ring from me. How he gazed at me as I shouted all the foulness my teenage brain knew at him in a rage. I could see his heart breaking under my words, but not for himself. Leaving the drawer open, I spun my heel and fell back on my bed, resolving to meet with Liam tomorrow. I still craved answers. Shutting my eyes, I let the memory of my dad's deep brown eyes guide me to sleep. Protective, sad, and scared, but they kept the lights away. Dad was already gone by the time I woke up just after noon. My body was stiff from sleeping in yesterday's clothes, so I opted to something more comfortable for today's adventure. I didn't really care about appearances when not working and with the autumn air. Wearing black sweatpants with a matched oversized hoodie couldn't seem too strange. As expected, the kitchen was decorated with used dishes from Dad's dinner and morning's breakfast. I tidied up and as I prepared myself a simple lunch, wondering where Dad would be if I wasn't around, if Mom took me with her when she left. It worried me with how much I cleaned up after him. After cleaning my own mess, I did a once over the house, keeping the space that was far too large for the two of us nice and tidy. I spent the remainder of the afternoon reviewing my collections made the previous day in my small leather journal. Buried memories now revived by Liam's sudden appearance adding a new thread to the web of secrets I had only given up on untangling. The peaceful life my dad craves just doesn't suit me. Of course, the bus I took downtown was running behind schedule, meaning I'd be late for meeting Liam. I only hoped his clear anxiety over the whole thing didn't cause him to run off before I got there. Something within me made me far more excited for this meeting than I anticipated. As I pushed into the small cafe, I realized I was slightly out of breath and placed a hand on my chest, feeling my heart race. I must have ran here from my stop. Taking a deep breath to compose myself, I glanced around the cafe. No nervous ginger twiddling his thumbs in sight. I hung my head in defeat. It was well over 5 now, so he must have ran off. A mix of disappointment and rage bloomed within. I made my way to the booth tucked in the back corner. I came here often during my work breaks, so I had a regular seat, as most people didn't like being so far from the windows. There was an anomaly with my seat, however. Atop the table was a messily painted, ring-bound book, topped with a neatly folded white letter. Okay, I'm going to pause real quickly here, specifically because ads are about to start. So.
Okay. That makes sense.
I'm going to hit this dismiss, and we got 22 seconds before they start. Anything you'd like to share with the part that we've just gone through? Any insights, how this came about, and et cetera, et cetera?
Well, again, we know the ring plot's going to be abandoned. Like I said, I used it there for like that point of like contention and to like firm up Asta's resolve to be like, okay, yeah, like I'm chasing. So gonna have to revise that a bit. You have a couple female voices coming up. I'll just tell you that right now. And okay. Moments after this, things are gonna get a little spicy. This is kind of where like more of the eldritch horror, I guess, starts like coming in. Some things are gonna kick off a little bit. I do see you are an ad, so I may need to repeat that bit just because.
Fair, but the VOD watchers will hear you.
Yes.
It's a minute.
There is there is like a brief trigger like content warning. I'm sure you can see it in the document there. I didn't want to like take like 5 minutes to go through that because I don't think we're gonna hit anything that's like super heavy, and I haven't written anything that's super heavy yet. But like this is kind of where like, you know, so the titular eldritch mindfuckery like starts coming into play a little bit here.
Okay, because you said spicy, and I was gonna be like, oh, we're going spicy, are we? Like, oh no, it's like eldritch spicy. Oh.
Yeah. I actually like even recently just revised this section, so it's even more impactful, I suppose, how it was originally. I went back through it. Yeah.
Okay. What was I gonna say? There was something on my mind here. I guess what I should say for... I'm trying to think of the right words here. The last few paragraphs, I think I was just kind of like going through the motions of reading. Actually, not the last few. The couple of paragraphs in the beginning, I was just kind of like going through because it's a whole wall of text. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But my question being, how am I doing with the reading? Am I going too fast? I feel like I'm going too fast. Should I like slow it down a little bit?
Like maybe like just a tad, especially for like the next section, because like I said, this is like going to lead into some of the standard Eldritch mindfuckery. I'm sure everyone's kind of waiting. I'm like, okay, you said this is an Eldritch mystery. Where's the? Come on, this is just like a family drama, right?
Right. Fair. Okay, I will slow it down.
But yeah. So, hi, Drakas.
Hi, Drakas.
So yeah, this is quickly going to lead into some. We're gonna get a little bit of exposition, and then Asta's going to have a reaction to some knowledge.
Nice. Drakas, we are doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. We are just going through the preliminary draft of Sivna's new book that she will be publishing at some point.
And I don't know if it's going to become relevant today, Also, I don't know if we're ever going to do further readings of this in the future. But there
I would
is...
be totally down to do more readings of this.
That would be amazing. There is, we'll say, it's written in like a continuity error, pretty subtle.
Okay.
But it is, because again, like this is more mystery than horror at this point. So there's a lot of like little things that I'm sprinkling in that are a types of foreshadowing and things. So there is what you'll read and be like, that's wrong. Like that's a continuity. Like what? But it is intentional. I'm not gonna say what it is because it's subtle, and I want people to try and notice it. This is gonna kind of like be a test on if I am conveying these things in a way that people can pick up on. So it's mostly a test for my writing skills, I'll say.
I see.
So yes, there is a continuity error, I will say.
Gotcha. But I mean, this is more so like
intentional continuity.
Yeah. It's what I was gonna say. It's a taste of your book. It's not the full thing, and a lot of things will change and improve. So, yeah.
And just
cool. Go ahead.
Just as another thing, it's sort of being shown, but colors are exceptionally important. So if a color is mentioned, remember that and the context, and probably who.
So, Liam being a redhead is very important.
Well, his ginger hair was called out, but there was there was
I know,
something
that
called
obviously
out a
wasn't
bit more. Yeah.
I picked up on the wrong colors.
Damn it. Mentioned the ginger hair once. That's dug his grave.
Well, the ring-bound book is... Actually, no, I'm probably reaching at this point. I'm like trying to figure it out as I read it.
That's good.
Before the ads, I just had read atop the table was a messily painted ring-bound book topped by a neatly folded white letter. I'm pretty sure that the white letter isn't said important color, right?
No. No.
It's just it's an ordinary piece of paper.
White. White is an important color.
Would you like to answer Drakus's question?
Yes, Drakus. It is an eldritch mystery horror. We're gonna lead with mystery over the horror, just with how it is currently going. But it is going to get more spooky, scary, ideally. But more so, it's not like your typical horror. I mean, it's eldritch horror, obviously. So it's like existential horror, just mind horror, losing like agency of like your existence sort of vibes. But definitely more mystery at this point. We're about to lead into, I guess, sort of what you could call like a subtle horror element. Asta's gonna go through some things in a couple minutes here. Let's just say that.
So some mild eldritch tomfoolery.
Yes.
Alrighty. All right, let's continue. So, okay, so this is a woman, it seems, that's about to talk.
Yes.
Pleasure to see you again, Asta. A cheery voice broke from me from my stare. Oh yeah, a cute guy left that for you not more than 10 minutes ago. Her hand tilted her pen towards the book. Said you'd be expecting it. He seemed really nervous. You should really work on how scary you are, girl. She kicked my foot under the table. I forced a smile as I met her gaze, a pile of new questions having been dumped on atop a web. Thanks, April. I'll get right on that. My eyes rolled, making my sarcasm pretty obvious. Did he say anything else? The question came out too desperate, but April simply shook her head. Nope. I'm glad you've made a new friend, though. Her smile was both sickening and comforting. I always thought Dad would have liked this if his daughter was more like her. If his daughter was more like her. Bright blonde hair, framing honest blue eyes that left you feeling like everything is possible. Looks like you have a lot of reading ahead. Want me to put it in for your usual? She tapped her pen against the pad nestled in her manicured hands, to which I simply nodded. One black coffee, turkey melt, and fruit parfait coming right up. She spun on her heel, hovering her uniformed skirt into a twirl, and bounced towards the kitchen, leaving me alone with my thoughts and Liam's present. The letter seemed like the sensible place to start, most likely the explanation as to why he flaked on me. It was folded in on itself 3 times, and the penmanship was immediately much neater than the scrawled one from the note yesterday. I hope you can forgive me. At the very least, you'll soon understand why I'm so hesitant to speak openly of my hunt for that book, and your family as a whole. I can only imagine how strange this all must be for you, and I thought I had it bad. Let me explain what little I can. This book is a journal of mine. I have several now. This was the first, so I won't miss it. For as long as I can remember, I've had the strangest of dreams. When I was young, they would even plague me while I was awake, causing unexplained fainting spells. This journal, and many others, are my recollections, questions, and findings of these dreams, visions, and all of the things related to them. I truly hope it's a freak coincidence that you've shared the Nocturne name as I've come to see it. I hope my dreams mean nothing to you. I hope you can read this journal and be able to burn it, dismissing it as nonsense. But by the same token, I know you won't. Asta Nocturne, the Night Star. A wave of familiarity flooded my senses upon finishing the letter, and I swear a wash of green coated my vision. My head felt unbearably light, my eyes unable to focus on the familiar location. I dropped the note and stumbled onto the ladies' room blissfully close to my home booth. My hands clumsily guided me through the door, my movements fluid and rapid. I rested against the door now secured behind me, though the dizzying sensation of my swimming mind was able to appreciate the new paint job, as it was much easier on my eyes, offering me a moment of relief. The bubbling in my stomach redoubled my brief respite, sending me to the floor, my hands managing to catch the edge of the toilet. I was fighting my eyes to remain focused, something continually pulling them away. Using the still water as a visual constant helped me, despite my mind still lost to the whirlpool of nostalgia incited by the note. The signature. The waiter within the bowl began to spin. My mother's name. Something was reaching out. My name. I couldn't focus on my sight, the water swirling and darkening. A new sensation took over my body, overtaking the many sensations vying for prevalence in my mind. My throat burned as a monstrous wretch forced its way from my gaping maw. I cringed as I could feel the crystals of salt crush between my teeth as I spat out the taste. My lungs heavied as the autonomy of my body was gradually returning to me. Focusing my sight became pathetically easy, shooting myself an insult as I flushed the madness away and leaned back on my knees. I continued to catch my breath, gazing up at the ceiling. While my sight was focused, I found myself unable to process what I was seeing. Shaking off the thought, I moved to the exit of the space, wanting to escape the memory. Resisting the urge to look back took much of my dwindling will. I swear the bathroom was still white as I left. I'm only pausing here because now I'm starting to think about this whole segment that we went through. And green has been repeated quite a number of times, especially when it comes to looking down at the water, and whenever one of the family members had to deal with this outer feeling, And I feel like this last sentence, I swear the bathroom was white again as I left. Perhaps, maybe I'm overthinking this, but I feel like the color white is something of neutrality. A presence of the norm, something that is supposed to be normal. Whereas drifting away from white, this neutral color, is what signifies that something's going on immediately. At least that's how I'm thinking it.
I mean, not a terrible way to look at it. The intent with that, and I do need to keep explaining this because I need to have it written in a way that it comes across correctly. Earlier in the paragraph, she takes a moment saying that it's the new paint job of the washroom is easier on her eyes. And that there, the second line where it says a wash of green coated my vision, and then when she's in the bathroom, the color is easier on her eyes, as in she is seeing the white bathroom painted green and is perceiving it and accepting it that the bathroom has been fully repainted green. And then only after her delirium, she's like, wait, the bathroom was white again. That is the intent there. I guess I'm still trying to figure out how to appropriately convey that without spelling it out. That like, yeah, she is seeing the world as green, and her perception of reality is just overwritten to be like, yes, everything is green. This is normal and comfortable.
Yeah, honestly, I did catch that. I was just, that last sentence is a really good emphasis that something happened. Which made me rethink about what I just read. So yeah, the whole thing of green coating my vision, I wasn't sure what that meant at first, but yeah, having read the rest of that, it's like, okay, yeah, something was happening with her. She was feeling, there was some sort of connection going on. Okay. Well then, I shall continue. Is there anything else you want to share before I continue?
Not so much, unless you had another takeaway from that, because again, that is like the first like instance of like, oh shit, things are happening. So that's, I'd like to know if it like kind of jumps out, or if there's any. Again, I did like just rewrite this a couple days ago, but I will do it as many times as I need for it to hit the way it needs to.
Of course. Posture check. Okay, hold up. I was shrimping, so thank you for catching me. Alrighty. So, the water within the bowl began to spin. I think that's like that one sentence, dead center of this paragraph.
I did actually notice it was that centered. That's actually
this party's getting crazy. Let's rock.
Oh goodness! Speaking of authors, we have a raid by Aspen Dracena. Thank you, hello. Aspen, for the raid. I appreciate that. Hello, raiders. Hello. My name is Winter Rain, Ice Dragon VTuber, Dungeon Master, and Variety Gamer, and with me is Sivna. Sivna, would you like to say hello?
Hello, raiders. My name is Sivna Repose. Pleasure to meet you.
And she is the author of the preliminary writing of this. I don't like saying preliminary writing. Is there a way to say that better? First draft, I guess.
Yeah, we'll go first draft. Yeah.
Yeah, the first draft of her upcoming book that she will be publishing at some point. Thank you again for the raid. I appreciate that. But we will continue. But again, thank you for the raid. I appreciate that. Actually, because I should be doing this more often, shout out Aspen Dracena. Yeah, there we go. Alrighty. Where were we? Right before the next chapter. Alright. Returning to my seat, I was greeted by sights and scents of my order set neatly on the table. Naturally, I reached for the coffee first, desperate to erase the salt from my tongue. Feeling its warmth spread through my body, my attention returned to Liam's journal, and the letter once again folded on top. I set it aside and picked up the heavy book. It wasn't overly large, but the pages were thick with paint and other papers shoved between them. The cover of the book was strange, covered in messy strokes of black acrylic. Between the brushstrokes, there was where the paint was thinnest. You could still see the original color of the hardcover journal, a deep, inky green that brought forth visions of my mother's honeymoon tale. Despite its calling, I decided it was best to hold off on opening the journal until I was safely home. Setting both items on the booth beside me, I cleared my mind and enjoyed my meal, taking the moment of peace. Alright, and that was the second chapter. One thing that I kind of noticed, and maybe this is me saying too much, I guess call it a criticism. A lot of sentences kind of start with da 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 da, comma, da 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 da. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of sentences that are just like start, like a full idea, stop, and then connects with another one. I mean, maybe you're probably a better writer than I am, but that's something that I noticed. It's very flowy, repetitively flowy with like doing this, comma, I did this. Going here, yes. I did that. You know what I mean?
Yes. I have noticed that in my writing. It is like obviously I'm not a professional writer, but it is almost anything I write sort of like takes on that flow. I've definitely done a lot more like poetic writing and like poetry of the like over like proper like novel like long form writing. So I have noticed that the way I write like almost like kind of takes on like that short form, almost like poetic causality like sort of thing. So I did notice it early on, and part of me is like, is this going to be a problem?
This party's getting crazy.
Or
let's rock.
Do I commit to it and have it almost be like stylistically of the like the experience? Because there are times where it does like feel disconnected, but it lets me like play with cause and effect. It lets me play with perception, and I feel like how this could also just mean like justifying my bad writing style is like it works for Eldritch Horror because it's weird to read, you know.
No, that's fair. That's a good way to think about it.
So it's definitely something I'm aware of. I'm trying to not worry about it too much right now because, as you've seen, it is basically like how the entire thing is written. And while this is a first draft, if I need to rewrite the entire thing, change the writing style of it, then I'm going to have like the entire like first draft manuscript done, and then I will go through and edit where needed.
Exactly. This, like you just said, this is a first draft. So we were just putting all your ideas and whatnot on a page, and then you go back and edit to make it all pretty and whatnot.
Exactly.
Right. It's like FF rating. You get the clear, and then you make it tighter.
Yes. And I don't know. It's probably just like creators' appreciation. Like you always have a soft spot for the things you make. I do like how it all like comes out, like the cause and effect, and I like how it comes out, but I also see that like it's, I don't know, I feel like maybe some people might see it and be like, that's like lazy writing. Like I do see a lot of like potential critiques with it, but it is a good way for me to like I said, like get my ideas down in a concise way that I can still tell what I hope is a compelling story.
Yeah, exactly. And again, and Aspen's even saying it in chat as well, like the most important thing is to get your words on the page and then you review, and then there's a whole editing process. You don't write a book on the first go.
Yes.
Okay. Also, I want to pause real quick because it has been not a little bit, but I was going to address this. Lovely Shadow King, thank you for the raid. I appreciate that. Welcome, raiders, to the Dragon's Cabin. If you don't already know me, my name is Winter Rain, Ice Dragon VTuber, Dungeon Master, and Variety Gamer. And if you haven't already picked it up, which I'm sure you might have, but we are reading a preliminary draft, first draft of Sivna's book that she will be publishing at some point. So there's going to be changes, and therefore, once you do pick up her book, it will be different, and you'll have a different adventure reading it than I did. But thank you, lovely Shadow King, again for the raid, a fellow member of the Dragon's Council. Also, Whitney, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Thank you. Ads are about to start in about 6 minutes, but I'm gonna snooze that. And because we're gonna start a new chapter, so we're gonna do that first.
I was going to jump in actually before you jumped into the next chapter. I wanted to quickly see if you noticed the maybe continuity error.
Let me see. Is it something I already read?
Yes, it is entirely within this past chapter. I even made it more obvious in the rewrite.
Well, let's see. Wait, this chapter is actually pretty long now that I think about it.
It is a little bit. So it is. Let me see. So it is from about the second or third line after she reads the note, and then just after that paragraph of her experience.
I dropped the note and stumbled across the ladies' room blissfully close to my home booth. My hands clumsily guided me through the door. My movements fluid and rapid.
So you started at the correct line of the continuity, and then the error is in the next paragraph.
I dropped the note and stumbled. Oh, yeah, because she dropped the note. And so it wouldn't be on the floor or something, but she returned to her seat, and her stuff was neatly on the table. Are you hinting at something that's happening, or is it just like an error?
No, I told you that was an intentional continuity error. It is some foreshadowing for one of the last chapters I actually wrote. Yes, way down on page. By the way, so we are on page. Just for the VOD watchers and listeners who can't actually see, we are currently on page 9 of 39, and where this continuity error gets addressed of her dropping the note and then finding it refolded on top of everything isn't addressed until page 34.
See, I will be honest here. Like, I did notice that, but I just didn't put any thought behind it. It just kind of like glossed over. Like, I did see it.
Yes.
But it was like in my mind, it's like, oh, someone must have picked it up and just put it on the table. I didn't think nothing of it. But of course, now you're telling me, and it's like, oh, wait a second.
And then you think of like the contents of the note and be like, if this is like a larger conspiracy, and if Liam is as freaked out about it as he is, potentially, depending on who reads the note, could spell disaster, right? Like, you have to remember, this is Eldritch stuff. Depending on who gets involved and who already is in, what kind of dangers could that open up for our lovely characters so far?
I will say... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I will say that the way you formatted the last couple lines makes it strike very much as eerie, as it kind of should be, considering what he says. Because he could have just continued saying, I hope you can read this journal and be able to burn it, dismissing it as nonsense. but there's a full-on break going to the next line, as if to emphasize it, saying, by the same token, I know you won't. Next line, Asta Noctane. It's like a very big emphasis there, like, hey, your name is very special. Yes, you've changed your name, your family name, because of family matters, but then translated, the Night Star, which, as you did mention earlier, was like the whole thing about stars and whatnot. So that itself like rang immediate red flags and like, look at this, it's super important.
I'm so glad that you said the translation. I am glad that does come across, because
it's very much like that's what I got. Yeah,
it is very much a translation. I very much, like a proper Eldritch maniac, am making my own Eldritch-esque sounding tongue language for the back end of this. I have a functioning grammatical structure.
And we shall see more in the next chapters.
Next chapter? No, but
No?
Eventually. It's, again, not to like the 30s. You start being like, oh, there is words I cannot.
We'll get to them. Okay.
I am enjoying this. I'm glad to hear that you are also enjoying this, it seems. And this has been very insightful on things like I plan on changing and things needing to change.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I told you before I wanted to do stuff like this. So to have like a partner here to help me out and provide their story for this is super cool. Also, your model's lagging a little bit. Are you okay?
Is it? Oh.
Okay, well, you weren't wiggling you were wiggling much faster than you were before, so I'm like, Okay, you seem to have stabilized, though.
Okay. I'm an unstable dragon, what can I say?
Okay, I'm gonna increase the, what do you call this? The magnification on this, because I'm an old dragon that needs to have bigger text.
That is okay. And just so you know, this next chapter is our first perspective shift, as I had mentioned. So I'll let you in on that one instead of making you to figure it out. I mean, it's pretty obvious right away, but.
All right, let's get started then. 4 minutes? Yeah, we can do 4 minutes. I wonder if I can do this chapter in 4 minutes. Probably not. We'll see.
I don't think so.
Okay, I'll find out. I'll have to pause it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, so what is this? Chapter 4?
I do believe so. I'm not really numbering them. They just have their own name and title, which the titles themselves on the chapters is its own sense of like foreshadowing and like expectation. Yeah.
All right, next chapter, dreams. Weightless, I'm floating in a vast nothingness. My body is so cold, I question if I'm anything more than a corpse. So far from existence, I can see little more than the infinite black. But I do see them, needle points shining an eternity away. I hadn't realized how quiet my mind was until the silence was shattered by a cacophony of nonsense. Words in a language that I felt more than I heard. My phantom body was overtaken, crippled under the weight of their desires, of their obsessions. The urge to vomit boiled in my phantom body as the darkness vanished, replaced with their colorful, hungry forms threatening to blind me. I began to scream as a swarm of sensations continued to multiply far beyond any possibility. I awoke. My throat was so raw, my screams were hardly a whisper. I've taken a moment to collect my thoughts, while my body viscerally rejects the recollection of that dream or vision. Something has begun to stand out. a word, or maybe a name, based on how it feels. When I think of it, I can see it in my mind, feel its presence. It's too full, too loud to be a simple word. Noctane. It has a ring to it, like it's leaking some knowledge. It's leaking in some unknowable place. It has me feeling more than a little conflicted. While I'm beyond sick just thinking of seeing that place again, attacked by those words, I can't deny this curiosity to that one word, Noctane. I wonder if I have the strength to chase the answers I seek. I've been fainting at school, apparently. I can't say I've really noticed exactly, but it makes sense. While listening to various lectures, I suddenly find myself back in that empty space, so full of desire. My mind and body still break under the madness and rawness there, but I'm getting used to it, I think. More importantly, I'm getting closer. Ads about to start, I will snooze that. I got expelled today, and no one will fully explain to me why. It's not like I have no idea, but it wasn't really my fault. Ryan grabbed my journal, this journal, started waving it around class and making fun of how I repainted it. I wasn't embarrassed, and if I had any shame for it, I wouldn't come to school with it I wouldn't come to school with me at all. It wouldn't have come to school with me at all. No, I was angry. He had no right touching this book, let alone threatening to read it. But insulting it? It felt like I was in a dream again. I know I fainted and woke up in the nurse's office, clutching my journal. My parents were called to take me home. I tried asking what happened and where Ryan was. They told me he was sent home as well, and that was the end of it. I couldn't help but notice Mum nervously glancing at my hands, still gripping this book with white knuckles. Did he beat his ass with a book?
He sure did.
And he doesn't remember?
He sure doesn't.
He got mad, and something overtook him, possessed him. And one thing that I was thinking, that he painted over a journal. Mm-hmm. Who does that? Why would anyone paint over a journal besides trying to cover something? Mm-hmm. And I forget if it was mentioned of the book, what color the journal was. Somehow I got it in my mind that it's black.
A blackish inky green.
Right. There
black
it is.
And green.
There it is again. Green. Wait, so he painted it green? Is that what happened?
Yes.
Or it was
green and black.
Oh, he painted it green
Both.
and black.
It was like a bright green, and then he's painted it darker and darker.
It's like he's trying to bury the color green. Curious. Okay. Mom and Dad told me to stay in my room for a few days since the school was sending someone over to talk. I'm sorry, this is a very long sentence. Mom and Dad told me to stay in my room for a few days since the school was sending someone over to talk about what really happened, and I wasn't allowed to be a part of it. I was a little disappointed, frustrated too. But at the same time, having several days to myself let me focus on my visions, and something amazing happened. I figured out how to enter that place on my own, and it's less painful than being dragged in. I've learned so much more than I could have imagined with these forced visions. I think they appreciate my willingness, my eagerness to hear them, to hear it. Noctane. I've learned that place has a name, but I plan to start another journal solely for documenting it. Knowing people may try to take my journals, I'm going to start separating my findings. I guess the meetings with the school didn't go very well, since my parents suddenly barged into my room one day. They picked a great time, too. I was fervently drawing in my new journal. My nose must have been bleeding again since Mom freaked out when she saw me. Long story short, we're moving to California. Right now, actually. Journaling in a moving vehicle is unpleasant. I think I'll start another one after the move. Move on from this one. It's too cluttered, and it must be important based on the way my head is vibrating. Nocturne is calling me. It has something to show me. Something it needs me to be ready for. I'm on the way. Nocturne. Okay, I'm well on freaked out right now. So this kid gets insulted because his journal, which is a recollection of his visions and whatnot, has such a blinding rage that he doesn't remember the last few moments before being expelled, which is pretty extreme considering.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple things that kind of shot out at me real quick. So let's go here. This dreams.
This is like a good exposition chapter of like, oh, here's some stuff on the back end that Asta gets to eventually deal with.
And the fact that he gave this journal, Liam gave this journal.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, do you know whose perspective this is? So yes.
Oh yeah, very much Liam, because he didn't have to mention anything about his stuff. It's the fact that he has a journal. And it has to do with his recollections of being like, hey, stuff's going down. And that's exactly what he said in the note that he gave to Asta. Yeah, I think that was pretty obvious, and I got that. But this sentence right here, I got expelled today, and no one will fully explain to me why. At surface level, it's like, it'd be like, oh well, I didn't do anything wrong. But in the context, it's like, no. He really doesn't know what happened. That's crazy. Yeah. Oh, and ads are about to start. So, I think considering we've gone for about... How long have we gone for? An hour and 40 minutes? Maybe an hour if you... skip the half hour of tomfoolery of scuff. I am going to run an ad. I'm going to hit BR back. And I guess it's a good time for anyone to take a bio break or whatnot before returning here as we continue the rest. Actually, not the rest of the chapter. The next chapter, Pursuit. Interesting title. Alrighty, so I'll be right back.
Set the vibe.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I figured. So like Pursuit. Ooh, shit! What's happening? Alrighty, I'm gonna hit BR back, and I will be back in about a minute or 2 minutes. A minute and a half. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay, I'm not back yet. VOD watchers, I'm literally just like copying stuff on my OBS. Calm down. I'm not back yet. Hold on. Okay, I'll see you guys in a minute. Microphone on, Discord on. Music is still playing, although it's getting loud for some reason. Let's turn that down a little bit.
Strange.
Okay. Alright. Where were we? The next chapter, Pursuit. Stretch real quick. Alright. Pursuit. Who's gonna die today? Wait,
we
what?
Don't.
Wait, what?
We don't have any. I don't know. Maybe this would be considered spoilers, but it's fine. We don't have any like. We do have some deaths currently, but they're all just like past deaths.
Wait, what? They're past tense?
Past deaths, like deaths that are like, oh, this has already happened, and now we have to deal with it. There hasn't been any like, there hasn't. There's active deaths and or murders planned, but none that have reached paper yet.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let me get in the right mindset here. Okay. There's something in my eye. That's what I've been rubbing my eyes for the past seconds. Like, oh, what's going on? I have to read. Come on. Okay. Hope the music's not too loud. Should be okay. No, it's still kind of loud. I just want it in the background. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So, next chapter, Pursuit. A long breath escaped my lips as I closed the book. Its hard cover making a satisfying tapping as I set it down. My eyes wandered to the still folded letter to my right. Liam was right about me. My hands clenched in my lap. It was actually scary how much he might actually know about me. There was nothing I could do about it now, being midday Sunday. I'm all but positive Liam has been transferred into my school. Based on this journal, he must have moved recently. I stood from my desk, turning my back to the gnawing secrets. Some fresh air was the best remedy I could offer my racing mind. I enjoyed summer. I always enjoyed the summer-autumn weather. The way September seems to ease us down from the summer heat, guiding us to the coming chill that brings the new year. Like a life ending in slumber, only to burst awake, screaming into that new, strange existence. A wave of comfort passed me as I gazed at the sky, following my train of thought, while I absently walked down the quiet suburban streets. Unsure of how long I have been out, I simply allowed the violet sunset to guide me home, smiling as I saw Dad's vehicle outside. One thing we've kept through everything was our shared Sunday dinner. I skipped into the house, excited to see what he had brought home this week. I'm like hyper focused on these colors now that I see violet. Like, what is that? Are sunsets normally violet?
Not typically. You can see hues of purple in the setting sun, but they're usually pretty subtle.
So why is the sunset violet now? I'm like hyper-focused.
Good. I want people to read and pick up on this and like borderline like obsess over it. Like I want the readers to like get their own like eldritch entity by being like the colors, what do they mean?
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna be thinking about this later.
Yes, good.
With how torrential the past few days have been, it was truly freeing being able to enjoy regular, familiar experience with him. We smiled, we laughed, and we reminisced on the good, normal memories when Mom was around. He was so relaxed, happy, which quickly spawned and subsequently fed the pit in my stomach. I had to fully accept now that this life was not. Yeah, had fully accepted now that this life wasn't something I could fully own. The weight of the journal brought an immeasurable tension to my core as it took in my dad's joy. Small dimples formed under his wide smile, and the way his typically tense eyebrows watched me with his desire to protect. The memory of those burned me as I returned to my room for the night, met with a glaring empty space on my desk where Liam's letter once sat. A flood of emotion washed over me that I simply forced away. Trying to confront him again wouldn't do either of us any good. For now, we could keep playing this game. If he really didn't want me to chase these answers, he could tell me what he knows. What has him so scared for me that I didn't have the right to know? I stared at the journal as I lay in bed, recalling the events within. If Dad knew what it contained, if he knew even more. A feeling of understanding pressed against my chest. Of course he'd be afraid. I was afraid too. But more of what I didn't know, and what those answers could mean. Forcing my eyes shut, those green lights began dancing on my eyelids. Sleep wouldn't come easy tonight. Okay, so I feel this whole paragraph has me a little confused because maybe it's just the way I was reading it or interpreting it, but from what I understand, it's the torrential part in the beginning of this paragraph. Was it raining or something? Or is that referring to something else?
Just with Liam like coming into the shop and like immediately like single-handedly reviving everything she abandoned like on her mother's side, like the Noctane name, like chasing those answers, the stars and sky that her mother, like the fact that she had all but given up on having those answers, and then single-handedly this one awkward ginger boy comes in looking for something to do with her ancestry, has this note that knows her name and implies knowing so much about the family, the old painted book that as she like the dreams chapter is the journal that she is reading, like that is Liam's journal, like it's from Liam's perspective, but it is also exactly what Asta is reading and what's the word I'm looking for, just like thinking and like dealing with in the beginning of Pursuit. Like it is a direct chain of events. She leaves the diner at the end of investigation with the book, reads it the next night, and deals with it the next day. Right? So with how torrential it's been, just like mentally, like having all of that past brought up, all those questions, the curiosity of it, and you know how like eldritch stuff like just gets in, like if you've read the Call of Cthulhu, how like once you hear like Cthulhu's name, like it's in your mind. It's like an obsession you can't help but deal with. So she had all but like silenced that, and now single-handedly this awkward ginger boy comes in and just not only awakens it but feeds it so much. And then her experience in the diner with her episode, whatever you want to call that. I'm not trying to jump too much. So just like this all happens like the span of like from Friday to Sunday. So that's why it's how torrential the past few days have been. It's just like her life has been tilted on its head from going from trying to live, you know, the normal life her dad has wanted from her, chasing whatever her mother left behind, and why her dad is so scared of it.
Gotcha. I see. Yeah, because it seems like now that things are okay, it seems like her and her dad are okay now, and that he is kind of normal. Although, of course, as soon as it starts being normal between the two, that's when this shows up and essentially threatening the now somewhat normality between her and her dad. I think this one segment that I have highlighted here.
I do not see you highlighting anything.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Don't.
Well, it says, a flood of emotion washed over me that I simply forced away. Trying to confront him again wouldn't do us any good, either of us any good. For now, we could keep playing this game. If he really didn't want me to chase those answers, he could tell me what he knows. So, is this, I guess, supposed for clarity? Liam didn't want to tell her more? Is what this seems to be?
This is in reference to her dad. Because if you look to the slight bit up, the memory of those I need to rewrite that because that I don't like how that reads. The memory of those burned me as I returned to my room for the night, met with a glaring empty space on my desk where Liam's letter once sat. So again, we have a mention of the letter and that it's gone. And we previously had mention of the dad being in her and taking the ring that was passed down from her mother. And now we have this note again that had that again like triggered that episode in her that may or may not have been read or seen by someone at the diner, has now also been taken by her father, is what's implied there.
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing. I just didn't. I think that's just a me thing. I just did not catch that. Where, yeah.
Again, I do need to reread. I have no idea what I meant by this. The memory of those burned me. I'm gonna hide that for myself later.
I think, yeah, like knowing what you just said there, it makes sense what you were trying to say. Essentially saying that remembering the previous night where she found the note where she found the spot where the note is supposed to be, the note is no longer there. Again, like you said, mirroring how the mother's ring is gone.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't recall the father ever talking to Asta about the stuff.
No, he won't. And that's what she's upset about. That's what she's going into is...
Yeah, the fact that her father never even spoke to her about it. Like, she yelled obscenities about him, about the missing ring, but he didn't say anything, it seemed. And now that the note is gone, she's thinking, like, trying to confront him wouldn't do anything. And there's this game afoot, like, for now we should keep playing this game. And I think that's referring to the fact that he doesn't say anything when something of hers goes missing.
So I feel going to that it's more so referring to that he knows and is like kind of like seeing the hints that like she is like wanting to chase, like again taking the ring, he didn't want the ring, he didn't want connection, taking the note, like seeing and then removing that connection, like seeing that she's clearly like starting to get like pulled into this but won't tell her why he doesn't want, like what he knows, like she knows like she's not gonna get anything out of her dad if she tries to like talk to him, be like, hey dad, why like what's going on, why are you trying to keep me from this? If he really didn't want me to chase these answers, he should tell me what he knows, what has him scared for me that I don't have the right to know.
I see. Okay. All right, thank you for the clarification. That makes more sense now. And it's not like a slight on your writing. It's just when I'm focusing so hard on like reading it, sometimes this doesn't like go to my head. I'm just like the words roll.
No, that's okay. It's a delicate balance of like trying to like get like the meanings across with, of course, like not like spelling everything out for the reader, especially because there are like mystery themes, like you have to do a little bit of like the puzzle solving yourself, of course, like things will fall into place, and then on your second and third read, if it warrants a second or third read, you start seeing those pieces being like, oh yeah,
I was gonna say
that.
Yeah, when it comes to media like this, having a second or third read, it does hit different knowing some predetermined stuff or some stuff beforehand. And yeah, especially for a mystery, I think it's always nice to just go back and reread some of these passages and be like, how much did you miss as a reader?
Yeah.
For some of the hints there, and then now that you know, see how far it actually went, and like, oh, that's always really cool to see.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. Is like being able to go back after everything, and be like, man, this was hinted at and foreshadowed ages ago. Like, very, very brief tangent. I haven't watched much of it, but there was a time when, like, when the final seasons, I guess, were coming out for Attack on Titan, and like everyone was like, oh my god, like this plot point, like this was hinted at like season 1, like episode 3, and now we're on like season 8, and it's like apparently just like the rating in that is just like absolutely insane. I've never watched it, so I can't say, but I love like that vibe, and I guess, I don't know, I think it'd be pretty cool if in some small way my work is able to elicit that, like, oh my god, like this was from the very beginning.
Yeah.
You know, kind of vibes. Like,
it's always a feel good moment to like go back and be like, wait a second. Yeah, I'm it's funny finally reading a book for once, because it's been a while since I actually read a good novel. It does remind me of those days in university, taking those mandatory English classes and be like, find the theme, find the foreshadowing and all that stuff. I'm like, oh, this is nice. It brings me back. All right, now where did we leave off? Sorry, you were saying?
No, I just like, once again, like, this has just been a lot of fun, and you left off at that was your last line.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm totally enjoying this.
Yeah, I am so glad, because I've been really nervous, and I'm like, man, I don't know how this is like actually going to be received. So this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. She said sleep wouldn't come easy tonight, right? Because forcing her eyes shut, and those green lights began dancing on her eyelids. Gee, Nocturne, what are you? Wait a second. Like, I have a thought now. Her name was Asta Nocturne.
Well, it's Noctane. I know why your brain is autofilling in Nocturne, because that was the base for the name.
Yeah. Noctane. Yes. Asta Noctane. That was her name. And Noctane, I assume it was said, like, I'm trying not to get too quote unquote metagamey, but like, isn't Noctane like supposed to be the one of the stars or something? And like, actually no, Asta Noctane was, i.e., translated in this setting here to be the night star. I think, yeah, night star.
At the end of the note, Asta Noctane, the night star.
The night star. I'm not sure where I was going with that thought. I just I don't know why I thought of that. Back to you. Probably. I'll probably read one of these lines and be like, wait a second, what is that? What are those? I find myself unironically saying that one sometimes, even though I hate the joke.
I know.
I'll just be like, what is that? And then immediately follow up, what are those? God.
And then cringe internally, because why?
Because why did I do that? Alrighty, let's continue then. I say that, and there's 6 minutes left before another ad. God damn it, Twitch, why do you do this? I'm snoozing that.
Oh, I might be able to revive your thought, because your Asta Noctane tangent started after you read, forcing my eyes shut, those green lights began dancing on my eyelids. If that brings back your thought.
Nope. I'm sure it'll come.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll come. Alrighty. So I remembered asking Mom about them once. Those lights. Every time. The green lights on her eyelids. I remember asking Mom about them once. Those lights. Every time she spoke of them, it was like her mind went elsewhere. Thinking about it now, it was reverence. They're a gift from the sea, she whispered, covering my eyes with her palm. They illuminated the dark of my eyes as I watched them dance. My greatest gift to you. I felt her breath against my ear. That's why you went into the water? It was the night of my 10th birthday, which meant I got some answers. She didn't say anything, but the way the lights changed their dance told me I was right. They were trapped, left behind by their siblings. Her voice was low, sad. They can't swim like us. They can't resist the pressure of the ocean. My eyes continued to follow their dance, imagining how sluggish they must have been in the water. What are they? It didn't feel like a stupid question, but Mom still laughed. They're stars, silly. Our star. My head nodded slowly, pretending to understand. And one day, her lips brushed against my ear. You'll return them to the sky. I didn't hear the words so much as I felt them. The lights' dance became frenzied and manic. I felt my body shift, head gently resting against my pillow as a blanket was pulled over me before a kiss was planted on my forehead. Mom had long since stopped covering my eyes, but had kept them shut, watching the dance, fascinated, as she tucked me in bed, as she tucked me and left me to bed. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to pause real quick because I have to blow my nose because I'm a little bit sick.
Okay. All good.
Okay, I'm going to mute this because you don't want to hear this.
Okay. Very not ASMR. It was also very not ASMR as I was taking a drink and you started freaking out over the lights and almost murdered me. It was very, very uncalled for, but I appreciate it.
Wait, what happened?
When you first started this paragraph again, you started freaking out about the lights as I was taking a drink and I almost started choking.
Sorry. I do that sometimes.
It's okay. I'm just like that.
Like, there's actually, so a close friend of mine has been showing me this Netflix show, The Bridgerton. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I've heard of it. Have not seen it.
First of all, oh my god, it's so good. Go watch it. It's any VOD watchers, anyone here who's watching, oh my god, watch Bridgerton on Netflix. I swear, it's
finish the VOD and then go watch Bridgerton.
no, go watch Bridgerton right now. Anyway, the reason why I say this, I wish I could say the reason why I said this because that train of thought just left the station. It's gone. I don't know what I was leading with that. All I know is go watch Bridgerton on. Oh no, that's where I was going with this. Because she's already seen this. She's seen the whole season, everything. And so we're watching it together. Like, she's showing me this, so we're watching, and then every so often we'll like pause, and I'll tell her my exact thoughts about what's happening, as if trying to predict it, like, because blah blah blah. It's a whole like high society royalty love story thing. So I'm like predicting, like, oh my gosh, does he actually love this other person? Oh, shit like that. And yeah, we'll always just like pause and like try to predict. And that's kind of what I'm doing here now. Just like, oh no, oh my goodness, this is
the lights.
Yeah, the lights, the colors, Mason. What do they mean? Okay, anyway, I'll stop freaking out. I'll stop fangirling over stuff. Let's continue the book. Okay, where were we? Right here.
Yeah, it's up there.
Oh yeah, Dracus Infernal completely. Like, One Piece is also a narrative masterpiece. It's like, here's something from episode 5. It's not relative until episode 9,000, but it's there.
I'm not that good. I have not even 40 pages of this shit yet. But trust me, the pieces have been set for many things.
Ah, damn. Now I'm a little congested now, so hopefully my voice doesn't sound too nasally.
You sound fine, in my opinion.
Okay, well, let's try to push through this. And by push through this, I don't mean you're writing, but I mean like my nose is itching again. Actually, pause. I'm gonna pause. I need to blow my nose again.
All good, all good. Breathing is more important than reading. You need to breathe to be able to read. Unless you're reading in your mind, but that wouldn't make for a very good stream.
I love how you can see my model like shrink,
Freaking
indicating
out.
that I'm like taking in a deep breath to like blow my horn. Oh goodness. Ugh. Okay. Taking the journal to school felt like a terrible idea, but it would be indefinitely worse if Dad decided to take it as well, leaving me with nothing to continue investigating. I had to track down Liam and finally start getting some answers, which is why I was up, taking the earlier bus to have a chat with some faculty staff before class. Reception was my first stop. "Good morning, Miss Asta." Adina beamed from her desk. "What can I do for you?" Her smile was gentle. Her grandkids probably love her. "I met up with a transfer student over the weekend. Time to see how good I was at lying. We exchanged some study materials, comparing notes and the like." I waved my hand dismissively at her raised eyebrow. "He accidentally left one of his notebooks with me, so wanted to return it. But, you know," I trailed off as she nodded. "Your father still won't let you have a cell, I'm aware." She sighed as she turned to her computer. "We have a few students transferring in this year. I trust you know the boy's name?" Her keyboard clicked softly and assumed that she opened the school database. "Of course. I'm looking for Liam. Novik, I believe." I leaned against the wall as she began typing away. He's a year behind you, so I'm curious as to what you may have exchanged, but..." Oh shit, she got caught. "But this, spelling error, right here."
Indeed. I can't see your cursor, but I know where you are, so I see it.
"But this early into the year, I doubt it was anything harmful." She leaned closer to her screen as she spoke, something taking her focus. "So, did he transfer last week? Only had half days to see if he's been a good fit." Her long earrings clicked as she shook her head. "He was dismissed on Friday after we got his reports from his previous school. I'm sorry, I can't tell you anything more." The light from the thin monitor changed abruptly as she closed the program and returned her gaze to me. There was something new in her eyes. Concern. A pit bloomed in my throat, and I nodded. "Thank you, Adina." Spinning in my heels, I strolled further into the building, seeking a quiet corner to collect my thoughts. I ran my fingers over the cover of the journal, feeling the grooves between the brushstrokes and layers of paint. He really managed to paint it exactly as I saw the water in my mom's. Wait, that's an important sentence.
Mm-hmm.
He really managed to paint it exactly as I saw the water in my mom's stories. The green and going darker. I couldn't help but wonder how his dreams were connected to my mom. To me. I flipped it, ready to examine the... Oh, there's a minute before ads. I flipped it, ready to examine the back in the same manner, but a new flash of color caught my eye. As the metal rings passed my gaze, between scattered splashes of black paint hid specks of red. Dark and dry, I pressed a nail into it, causing it to flake and crumble, decorating my hand with specks of red and black. My eyes widened as I carefully turned to one of the later entries in the book, reading over Liam's recollection of his expulsion. Adina's words echoed in my mind of his declined transfer. I wanted to throw the book out the window as I continued to turn it in my hands. Looking closer now, between the layers of black was more of that dark red. It was so old it looked more brown and blended in perfectly. The more I looked, the more I saw. And ad time.
Oh.
Yeah, I was watching
Cliffhanger ads.
cliffhanger ads. I am gonna blow my nose again because holy moly, it's getting bad. But while we are on ad break, would you like to share more insight about anything about the book so far that we've gotten to?
Man, I don't even know. I'm so scared to share anything because I don't want to spoil things. But man, I wish I knew what to share. I really wish I did. it's just been such a trip. Really getting into writing this, really pursuing it as, like, damn, I could probably actually see this finished and published one day, and I just think that'd be really cool. And getting readers, like beta readers in the Dragons Council, and the feedback and support, and even the live reading that we are currently doing has been insane, even on just like the first draft. So I have no idea how far this is gonna go. I would like to see it to the finalization, editing, and like the whole 9 yards. I would love to see it make it. But so far this journey has been insane.
Yeah, this is I'm rooting for you. I want to see this thing published, and I want to get a copy for myself.
Stop.
I will say that, like, just knowing the colors are so important. It's like in the very back of my mind, always nagging at me. A color was mentioned, write it down. Write that shit down right now.
Good. That is kind of what I'm hoping for. And I know we're still not through this paragraph and we're still in ads, but this one is in a way it's a bit of a red herring. Okay. Red herring.
Okay, I will ask you though to do this partially because I still have to blow my nose, but also to like give some insight on this last paragraph. Could you like give in let's say a Spark Notes version of the events that just happened here? Because I think I know what happened, but I'd love to like make sure I'm clear on what's happening here.
Well, you do still have a couple. I know you're still blowing your nose, but there is still another line or so in this paragraph. Like you stopped like right before the end of it, and then maybe after that last sentence is handled, we can make sure we're on the same page with it, and my intention with this description has been conveyed as desired. I would love to provide more insight, but I want to make sure we have the full context.
Okay. Sorry, what I meant to say, and well, first of all, that was good to know. But what I meant to say, just to clarify what was happening here. I'm starting from.
Oh. I believe you were just about here.
Yeah, what is happening here at the very top of the paragraph? It seems like there was some hidden color on the painted journal. Again, who paints a journal? Why did he do this? I don't know. Perhaps it'll be revealed in time. But
well, now we know exactly how it's painted, which is kind of gives some insight into why. Like the journals are Liam's experience with, well, his dreams, his connection to Noctane, as we've seen it so far. So not just the contents, but the very journal itself is being made manifest.
I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
All of it, or just the journal itself is
the last
like,
two sentences you said.
Yeah, the journal itself is like being made manifest by Liam of what he is seeing, witnessing, and experiencing.
Oh yeah, it's like a lot of recording of like, hey, this is happening, and he's just like writing down everything he experienced.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna like quickly skim this because like something is bothering me about this paragraph. Less, it's not about your writing, but rather something I feel like you've woven something secretly in here. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But okay, speed reading this. I ran my fingers over the cover of the journal, feeling as the grooves between the brush strokes of the layers of paint. Also, I also want to mention there was one sentence that stuck with me that bothered me a little bit. I forget what the words was, but it was something about she was looking at the journal and there was layers of paint in it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that was my misinterpretation, but is there paint inside the journal, not just on the outside, like on the cover?
Well, say you were trying to paint an unknowable vision that was thrust unwillingly upon you in a form of mania. Would it be a clean? Would you keep all the paint on the cover? Would it be, careful and meticulous, or would it be a little feverish?
I see. Okay, so it's less of a deliberate. Oh, there's paint inside the thing, but it's just like, oh, there would be if you're just manically trying to paint it in. Okay, I'm just reading too much into it. Okay, got it. I'm just too paranoid now. Be like, what does this mean? Okay, in that case, I'll leave it be and I'll continue there. Okay.
You were about here before you left off.
Right. I want to read this part about the red again because that really bothered me.
Okay, read it again. Go for it.
As the metal rings passed my gaze, between and now I really realize ringed as in like it's got the coils on the one end of the journal.
Yes.
Between scattered splashes of black paint, hid specks of red, dark and dry. I passed a nail into it, causing it to flake and crumble, decorating my hand with flecks of red and black. My eyes widened as I carefully turned to one of the later entries in the book, reading over Liam's recollection of his expulsion. Adina's words echoed in my mind. Okay, so why did she shift from this shock of why is there red behind this black to going over his expulsion? Am I missing something here? Or am I stupid?
Well, what is the mystery behind Liam's expulsion? What happened? You pieced that together.
Oh,
what happened?
Right. When he beat his ass with the book. Right. I thought he painted it. No. Dracus got it earlier that the red wasn't paint. It was the blood from his ass whooping. Right.
All right.
I get it. I'm just stupid. Okay. Duh. Of course.
We see Asta making that realization here.
Okay. Where was it? Oh, I see what you mean by like the next line. Yeah. Cars more between the layers of black and red. It was so they look more like brown and blended and perfectly. Yeah, because the older blood gets, it becomes oxidized and therefore it's darker. Blah blah blah. Science. And Dracus, I have a lot of other things in my mind. Okay. That being said, the more I looked, the more I saw. Corners and edges of paper were stained, made stiff and frail from it. It was all I could see on it now. I slammed it shut, shoved it in my bag, and went to the restroom, my hands now carrying that same stain. I absorbed nothing from the day's classes as they dragged on. My bag felt heavier now with the knowledge of the journal. I had to find Liam even more now, but was also scared to do so. Not that I had any leads to find him anyway. Continuing my routine as normal, I made my way to Akali's, opening the store for the evening. I'm going to pause right here because there's a question that I had. So they declined Liam's transfer, so he actually didn't get into the same school?
Correct. She
see.
did say that she had half days up until Friday when this school received the records from their old one, and he was no longer allowed to attend, and she couldn't say further of why.
Right.
And then moments later, Asta finds a potentially concerning, I mean, any amount would be concerning, but an even more so concerning amount to be old dried blood all over the book that Liam gave her.
Just gave her, yeah. And judging by the timeline of these things, him recording the book wasn't that long ago. He's probably gone through 3 journals, but it hasn't been that long since he moved. Interesting. Again, yeah, because the blood was old, so a couple days at the minimum, because it was a very quick move to from California, I believe.
Yeah, to California.
To California. Okay. Okay, so
I will say this is sort of a bit of a writer's fault for me. I'm really like wishy-washy about hard look because I live in Canada and I decided to place this in the States.
No, I mean, I'm also
very
Canadian, and I'm also like California. That's in like in the East or something, right? My fellow Americans, that's where California is.
Yeah, so I'm being like super broad with locations, and then like not dropping like any like landmarks because again, as much as I'm like dedicated to the bit, I don't want to research like the fucking landmarks and geography of California and whatever else. If this makes it that far, when I get like a proper editor to look at it, be like, hey, do you want to give me like an important lake where this event could happen because something happens at a lake? And, you know, if they can give me like, if they can name drop a lake where you could be like, cool, this happened there, then that's like the most immediate example I could think of, or you know, being able to name schools they're attending. Obviously, still fictional universe, but being able to have like real places that people can, you know, if I get any Californian raiders late, you know, that's just not something I have the knowledge on.
Is Point Nemo real? Is that a thing? I don't know my geography.
Yes, Point Nemo is real. Yeah. If you make it to Point Nemo, it's basically a death sentence. But
really?
In Point Nemo, you are closer to humans on the space station than you are with anyone on Earth.
Damn.
Yep.
Damn, okay.
It's freaky.
Damn.
That's why I'm writing a space sci-fi. No landmarks there. That's so fair.
Not with that attitude. I'm sure there's something. That said, no, that's sound. That's very sound. Alrighty. Well, where did we leave off?
You were just about Akali's opening the store for the evening.
Yes. Akali's Antiquities. As I made my way to Akali's, opening the store for the evening, she still wasn't back to manage the mornings, so the shop was running at half its hours. After collecting the mess of letters dropped within the front door, I headed back to illuminate the store and make my seat behind the desk. Anything directed to Akali herself was set aside as I'd added to the mountain on her desk for when she returned. I'm sus about the shop owner. Somehow I am just sus.
What's so sus about Akali?
It's just the fact that she's not here and she's letting this high school student? High school student.
So, quick ages. Yes, Asta is in her final year of high school. She is 18. Liam, being a year behind her, is 17. I didn't want to extensively write about minors, so I'm like make it 8. I think the age of consent is set to 21 in America, but that's 18 in Canada, so I went for 18.
No, yeah, understandable. I mean, she's supposed to be super young because of all the stories that her mom told, and she's still with her dad, so it's like, well, you can't be that old.
Yeah, so she
that makes sense. Her age doesn't matter.
Well.
Oh. What could that mean? Spoilers, everyone.
not spoilers, just
something happens.
It's a mature novel. There's a reason I don't really extensive minors in it, alright?
Oh. Damn. And here I thought the spicy was just for Eldritch stuff, but okay.
Well. Eldritch stuff and the human condition.
You will have to find out when you got your own copy of the book. Okay, enough of that. Let's continue. What could it mean? All right. Where am I?
I already got you. I have it highlighted.
So sorry. Yeah, I know. I'm just like, what did I last read? Because I need to know context. Right. Akali, her pile of letters. Okay. She was always traveling, hitting up every small town auction, flea market, or abandoned storage locker she could find. My boss has made a living out of being a hoarder. Once the mail was sorted, there was a singular letter from myself. Technically, it was addressed to the store, but that was Akali's way of sending me delivery notices. Some agreement she and my dad came about to not including my name on any external documents relating to business, things that can be traced. Something about me only being a minor and a part-time employee, it would look bad if I was publicly handling so many internal operations. I was correct, though. As I unfolded the letter, it was a notice from Akali that she had a delivery coming this Friday, and she was trusting me to receive it. We hardly had the room. I scanned the storefront and began planning what I could rearrange to rotate more stock to the front. This job was more like the worst game of Tetris ever. I smiled, finally having something to do other than think and worry about my family's mysteries. The evening went by in a breeze of rearranging delicate china, portraits, and other knickknacks. I could feel the gaps of the following afternoon. I guess my bustling inside gave the windows. Wow, I can't read that. I guess my bustling inside the windows caught some passing attention as a few customers came in, giving me a few sales to top it off. Ooh, that's nice. My routine fell back into place for the following days, and I allowed myself a break from the madness, both for myself and for Dad. I still kept the journal with me, always hidden in my bag, a silent, dangerous plea for answers. Thursday afternoon, I was met with the tactfully reorganized and clean store, a smile finding my face as a sense of pride welling within. Regardless of how large this next delivery was, I was ready. I'd still give Akali a piece of my mind when she's back. We have a good relationship since she's been a long-time friend of my dad's, but she definitely has higher expectations of me because of it. I suppose I'm partly to blame since I can't seem to let her down. Another easy day behind me. My mind was floating in tranquility as I finished closing the store, locking the door behind me. A faint autumn chill nestled on my shoulders, and I took a breath, the waters in my hands still for the one last moment. As I turned to make my way home, my body froze. My lake thrown into a torrent. Leaning against the corner of the building, just out of sight from the windows outside, was Liam. My bag weighed on my body as the journal surfaced in my mind, bringing it with the curse of its sins. Liam's sins. "Hi, Asta," he stuttered out, lifting his body off the wall. I almost forgot how timid he was since reading the journal. His writings were so confident, obsessive. "I'm sorry. I'm sure you have questions." Such soft words carried such intent. I instinctively took a step back. I did have questions. The need for answers boiled in my mind. "Why did you lie to me?" I was surprised with the confidence the words formed with. Liam was too, based on the wide-eyed look he gave. When we met, you handed me a piece of paper with my name. When we met,
You handed me a piece of paper with my name on it. His eyes locked on the pavement between us. You said it on purpose. You said it wrong on purpose. Why? Just to use that nickname when you managed to pick up just to use that nickname you managed to pick up within a week of us going to the same school? My blood pumped harder with every word. I must have started raising my voice based on the look he gave me. Was it even real? There wasn't much distance, but he cleared it so quickly, his soft hand planting itself over my mouth. I stared up at him. He wasn't much taller than me, but this close, and with the events of the journal, I felt panic join the adrenaline in my heartbeats. She's real. There was a confidence he wrote with. Please, do not say her name. I followed his gaze to the night sky, noticing the full moon staring back. Since I no longer had a mom to tell me her stories, I had stopped paying attention to its cycles. His eyes turned back to me. It looked like they were glowing. I want to help you, I promise. Soft again. I had no idea if the boy before me was dangerous or simply lost like me. But to do that, I need you to cooperate me a little, okay? I nodded slowly, causing his hand to lift with a fragile trust. Yes, I intentionally said... yes. Sorry, something in my throat.
It's okay.
Yes, I intentionally said that name wrong. His eyes searched my face, analyzing my reactions. That name was, as I'm sure you know, and I was looking for you. But I didn't know that it was you when I first came to the store. He broke his gaze and seemed to relax at the slightest amount. I did the same. That's why I stood you up. The hand once planted on my face now rubbed the back of his neck. I don't know how much you knew or what I could tell you, but if you were even safe to contact. His voice shook as it fought to raise a panic against his forced calmness. It didn't seem like you knew much, so I gave you my first journal. If you knew anything, then it would scare you or surprise you. He emphasized his words. The way he emphasized his words made me feel sick with ignorance. I really didn't know anything. Based on how quickly you came looking, and your present reaction, his eyes passed over me, much like how mine did when we first met, my face flushed with frustration. You really don't know anything, do you? I forced myself to meet his gaze. My cheeks burned with the softness he met me with. What exactly am I supposed to know? I pushed my voice through clenched teeth. You read my letter before the journal, right? Without breaking his stare, I nodded. Good. What happened after?
I don't know if it's me, but stream is buffering.
Oh.
Your voice is breaking up. I don't know if it's me or not.
Oh no. I can't verify unless I go to my own channel and see if anything's okay. Or everything's okay. Stream manager. Is it stable?
Oh no! Just like me!
Well, the bitrate seems okay.
You're slowly coming back. Refresh the stream, see if it's coming. And you went pretty robot-y there for a second. Like, oh
darn.
No. Oh no.
Testing. Testing 1, 2.
It's better. It's still kind of going. But again, I don't know if it's me. My internet. Oh, it might also be me. Oh no.
I think it's you because I'm looking at my own stream and things to be okay, and my bitrate's okay. So,
okay,
unfortunately, is your cat chewing the Ethernet cable? Is that what's going on?
He is not. He was sleeping very, very cozily behind my PC in the Tower of Stuffed Animals.
Okay, well, if your internet's starting to go poopy, we can finish this chapter. Oh my god, this is a long chapter. Civ, this is a long chapter.
It is a long chapter.
I was just scrolling down. I'm like, wait, it's not done. It's not done. Oh my god, it's not done.
Yeah, we get where is it? Yeah, there's another good moment here.
It's like 3 pages extra.
It is, but there's another good Eldritch bit. I think my internet's coming back. I can't, my Twitch won't re-go, but I can hear you fine. It sounds like I'm coming. Okay.
Okay. And mind you, this is a Google Doc that we're reading off of. So one Google Doc page is like, actually I don't know.
Well, it's size 12 Arial, not double spaced, so there's a decent amount on each page depending on my paragraph formatting.
I was gonna say, yeah, one page is probably like 2 pages on a novel sized, because like novels aren't 11.5 by 13, so I mean 8.5, 8 by 11.5. So yeah, there's probably like 3 pages per Google Doc. I mean, Google
yeah, I need to.
page.
I mean, I've really thought about that. I really should consider that more. Cause like, man, I only have 39 pages, but if you times like by 3, I'm probably at like,
120.
100 and some, yeah.
Give or
120
take,
or
yeah.
so, which is wild to think about. Man, I'm only at like 40 pages. The last novel I read was 800. Bitch, you're at 120.
Yeah, because last time when I think about the last book I read, or even just like one of the other books I read before, like Harry Potter, like that shit is like half the size with margins of a Google Doc. And then depending on the format of the book or like the size you decide to take it, this could easily be times 3. That considering that's not bad pace that we've been going.
Apparently, Matt, I was literally like just thinking about this. Man, I only have like barely 40 pages. That's not a novel. And then no, these pages are much bigger compared to actual novel size. So
Google Docs are about 3.5 times the size of a regular book size. Oh, there you go. Hell, you could almost have like 130 pages.
This is an ego boost for myself.
Nice.
I still have so much more planned. It's okay. If you notice, like on the Google Doc, this is titled Book 1 to Catch a Falling Star. Yes, I would like it to be a series. We'll see how far I get.
You're telling me. I've been eyeing that a little bit on this Google Doc where you've got your things, and then like there's the star names. I'm like, oh, there's multiple stars.
You should collapse the spoiler section.
But the star names though. That's why I was like all in about the other colors. I'm like, what if all the colors? What if all the colors are different stars? What if green is Nocturne? What if red is this other one I'm looking at?
I will say this is somewhat kind of hinted at, like exactly that's somewhat hinted at in the summary, which I know you like read way back like when we planned this, so I'm not surprised if some things mess, but it is. I'll just read a quick line from it here. Noctane, the first star, was once shattered by its brethren, their cacophonous songs overwhelming the ancient star, cursing its existence. So it is kind of like implied that there are multiple, and then we're just following Noctane for Asta and Noctane. Yeah, so yes, there are multiple.
That's why I was like really thinking about the red, and like yes, obviously it's the blood, the caked blood, but me, I was thinking, my mind was jumping to the fact there's like it was a green book, and then he colored it red because there's some influence from another star, and then he started painting it black. I was like, no, that's not it. I'm just stupid. That's not what's happening.
Not quite. There is a red star though.
Of course there is. I mean, anyone knows about like, I forget what it's called, but like when you look at constellations, there's always that one bright red star. So like, yeah, it's got to be something like that. That's definitely inspiration.
This is not really. No, I made names of like, yeah, this could be a star, and then I gave them Noctane being, or Asta Noctane being the Night Star. And then I gave the rest of them sort of like identities, domains, if you will, because like I said, they're like Eldritch God stars. So yeah, they'll have names, translations, domains, identities, and just their own means of fucking with those who encounter them.
I am wondering why green for the Night Star. I would have thought something like purple or something. You know. You don't have to answer. You don't have to answer.
Okay.
It was a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer because I'm sure
that is a
it'll come.
loaded question. It's such a loaded question. People aren't supposed to pick up like, why is the Night Star green? Fuck you, that's why.
Fuck you, that's why. Okay. I'll take it. All right. Where did I leave off?
Somewhere here.
Where am I? There we go. Oh, here it is. Yeah.
Page 15.
So let me zoom in real quick. You read my letter before the journal, right? I don't know why I made his voice so low, but he hit puberty,
I didn't want to be the same thing, but like, look, if people want to give my timid boy Liam a deep voice, that's your own prerogative.
You read my letter before the journal, right?
Oh my God.
I'm only 17.
You read my journal. You read my letter before the journal, right? Without breaking a stare, I nodded. Good. What happened after? His question was hung heavy in the air. I slowed my breathing and closed my eyes to recall the memory. The Night Star. The final line. A signature. Asta Nocturne. It was meant to be my signature. Those words illuminated in my mind as I finalized the connection, throwing the dancing lights into a frenzy. A wave passed over my body, a sensation I couldn't place. It made my heart race, my lost sight in the flurry of green and black. I couldn't open my eyes. Liam was calling out to me, I think. Everything was so muffled, like I was floating, sinking. His grip was tight around my waist. A burning sensation crawled from his touch as he shouted a word I didn't recognize. My eyes shot open, earthly darkness welcoming me back as my body doubled over, expunging a small torrent of salt water on the road. I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what?
Is this not the second time we've seen this?
I mean, the first time was... What? Huh?
What do you mean? You've seen this
might
before.
be stupid. I might be stupid. Where was the first time?
In the diner, she threw up something that left a saltwater taste in her mouth before having her lunch.
Sorry, say it one more time. One more time.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I think my internet's still being a little kooky dukes.
Yeah, what did you just say?
Yeah, in the diner, she threw up something that left a saltwater taste in her mouth, and she hadn't eaten yet.
Okay, see, I caught that. I forgot to mention that. Because she spoke about how there was like salt on her mouth, and she felt like salty, like the grind between her teeth. And I was like, I was just too enraptured with the rest of the passage, but like reading that was like, it was strange because like, why is she getting seawater stuff here? And then here it's very explicit where it's like, something is happening. And this is all just because he asked what happened after, and she's immediately thinking of her full name, or i.e. Asta Nocturne, the night sky. It was meant to be her signature.
And the words illuminated in her mind, and all of a sudden, while she's saying all this, those green lights, those gift from her mother, at least how she phrased it, were going crazy. And there was also black in there. That's different. It was color. It was like green, but then there was also black. The black was not there before. And
Well, inky blackness of deep ocean. So yes, I know.
oh, okay, so
Less explicit. Yeah.
okay, I see. Gotcha. I'm just reading too much into it.
Yep. That's okay.
Also ads. Yay.
Also adds.
But they turn before you are lost to the sea of ads. I must apologize because I don't recognize your name. But, welcome, and thank you again for stopping by. Not sure what you mean by uncle. What's up?
Do you not have someone who's uncle? Is it?
No,
It's
I
me,
don't have
LT.
that. I don't. Hold on, let me rack my brain. LT.
Sorry, I filled it so full with eldritch nonsense.
No,
He can no
this
longer
is.
remember his viewers.
I'm just like, there's only a handful of people who refer to me as Rain. Almost everyone calls me by Winter, so that's why I'm like, who? I don't mean to omega lull you, but like, I can't recall. I hope you've been well, but I'm sorry, I don't. No one calls me uncle besides my nephew, and he's 2. Well, regardless, I hope you're doing well. I just I feel bad because I genuinely remember all of my viewers' names. So I'm like, damn, why can't I remember?
You have your
Also-
own eldritch horror.
I must. You doing okay, by the way? You look like you were reaching down under your desk.
What?
You look like you were reaching down under your desk or something.
Oh, I don't know. Just my cat's constantly running around. I'm trying to
Cat,
make
there
sure
we go,
he's
yeah.
cat. Yeah,
That's
cat.
all you
explains
gotta
everything.
say. Cat.
Yeah, cat.
Okay,
Every
answer
streamer
done in about 20
understands the word
seconds.
cat.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Just love
Cat,
the what? Salt under the what?
Sorry, this is my first time getting this far, so it's like everything is a surprise to me. Everything is new.
Keep
Ugh,
it
I
good.
gotta blow my nose again.
Okay. Good night, Yuki. Winter is blowing his nose, but I hope you have a good night. Get some good sleep.
Oh, they're back from ads. Yeah, bye Yuki.
Yes,
Thank you for stopping
good
by.
night.
I appreciate it. Also, I forgot to do this, and since it's been a long time since I've actually done many solo streams, but wow, thanks Gato. I was about to say something nice, and you just redeemed the bonk on me. Thanks.
Yunk.
Hi Gato. But what I was gonna say, to those in chat who haven't said anything, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for stopping by, and thank you for having me in one of your tabs. I don't have to be your main content, but the fact that you chose to click on my link means the world to me. And I see you there, my lurkers. Thank you for stopping by, and for letting me be a part of your afternoon. Okay. Make sure my brain is scrambled a bit. Please, that's just the daily, Yep, brain scrambled. What was I saying? Who are you? Words? Let's read a book. Okay,
Book
where am I?
asterisk in progress.
Yeah, book asterisk. It's still a book. What do you mean?
Oh, my cat stepped on my keyboard.
Oh no.
Just put a random 99 in the middle of the sentence.
What is it? What do the numbers mean, Mason? What do they mean?
What do they mean?
Also, thank you, Dracus. That's sweet of you to say. Okay, so where were we?
Oh, here.
Right. My eyes shot open, earthly darkness welcoming me back as my body doubled over, expunging a torrent of water, of silt water on the road. I stared at it, my breath still heavy as the taste lingered unfavorably on my tongue. Basically that, I coughed out, feeling Liam's hand on my back. And now I need some fucking coffee. He was looking at me like a maniac. It's the only thing that gets rid of the salt. I spat on the ground, the taste prickling my tongue. Come on. My hand had wrapped around his, pulling him with me up the sidewalk. Now I want some decaf, goodness. Wait, are you okay? That looked pretty bad. His voice was more panicked than before. I thought you knew that this was going to happen. I mean, I knew. He sighed as he began to walk beside me. I knew it would have an effect. My steps halted. You. I could do little to stop myself from laughing. Is this some kind of game to you? My heart was racing. Every ripple of answers was followed by a wave of new questions. What are you even after with me, Liam? He met my gaze, but I could feel him shaking. I don't actually know. I released my grip. I know I was supposed to find you, and he glanced around nervously. We should get to wherever you're going. My eyebrow raised. Look, I don't know a lot, but I know it's at least best to speak in private. Fine. I turned, continuing to the bus stop. But you're giving me whatever answers you have. Tonight. My teeth clenched. Salt turning in my mouth into a swamp. Waiting for the bus was excruciating between my periodic need to spit and Liam's nervous fidgeting. I was pleasantly surprised Liam had his own pace once it arrived. I wasn't excited about spending an extra charge for his fare. The ride was uncomfortable. Not able to split away the vile taste, and unable to ask many of the questions swimming in my mind. Dad's car wasn't in the drive when... In the drive isn't like the driveway?
Yes.
Okay. Dad's car wasn't in the driveway when we arrived at the house, so I've never been so happy to see him working so late. It was getting close to midnight, so I lit... things are moving.
It was really hard for me to add that, apparently.
It's okay. It's like when you're reading a physical book and then like one of your friends just takes the fucking cover and starts shaking it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. It was getting close to midnight, so I understood why I looked insane making a pot of coffee. I mean, decaf, hello. But Liam seemed to understand enough not to comment. After settling in my room, I took a long draw from my mug, letting the bitterness linger and burn on my tongue. I often wish I would burn away my ability to taste it all. Liam was hovering awkwardly as I prepared to bombard him with questions. I crossed my legs, setting my mug on my bedside table, freeing my hands to pull the journal free from my bag, which I left on the floor against my bed. Okay. He seemed to snap out of his thoughts. First, before you freak out again, I am clear to use the names or whatever now. My body screamed sarcasm, but after his reaction on the road, I didn't want to make any unnecessary risks. Understanding my intent, he slowly closed the bedroom door before making his way to the window next to my desk. It was uncanny the way he moved and analyzed the outdoors before pulling the curtains closed, effectively turning my room into an island. Curious choice of words there, Civ. His movement seemed... Well, yeah, I'm probably just reading into it again. Well, the word island usually very much associated with water, seeing it's very surrounded
very isolated because of like surrounding water. So for her to compare her room to that of an island, considering her the thing ongoings with both saltwater and the star of Nocturne, has me curious. That's all.
I am just going to quickly note I have used water and ocean themes and descriptors for how she describes herself and her thoughts quite often.
Oh yeah. And one of those other things that I'm like, I'm picking up upon, but I don't think it's enough for me to like say something about it, because it's like, there's something here, but I'm gonna let it slide.
Definitely is intentional.
I like that. I like these little hints and these little subtleties very well. Very good job.
Thank you.
His movements seemed so well practiced, yet also so instinctual, like it was a pattern that was inherited rather than taught. Would you sit down or something? You're kind of freaking me out. I gestured towards my desk. As if following a command, he spun the chair around and took a seat, now intently staring at me. An icy finger crawled down my spine. His eyes were definitely glowing. What? His eyes are glowing? Drakus has a question for you, Sev.
Single novel or a multiple? So single novel for sure. I would like to see it be multi-book. Quickly referencing my spoilers section that I hope no one's looking at. We do have a multitude of stars and a plethora of characters related to each of them. Most of which won't get, I don't know if they'll get the screen time they deserve. In this one, I would like to be able to have at least some of the main characters within the other, how to word this without, I mean, we have the Noctane family for the Star of Noctane, so some of the other like main members of the other family. A book for every star, maybe. There is for sure 3 stars that will be heavily used. All 5 will, be covered. I don't know how much I'll be able to get into the story of each of them and like the main character I have designed in each. I can't say in each. There's one that's giving me a real hard time and has absolutely no to it yet. But that's okay.
I should really stop reading these spoiler tags.
You really
I'm just like, while you're talking, I'm like, what does this mean? Oh, why does this say demise? Oh.
Well, see, you shouldn't.
Curious.
But I mean, again, I can't really like absolutely like stop anyone, right? Like for my brain, I need to have all of my shit in one place. So, I mean, if
there's a tag here that says Civ Brain Rot. I wonder what that talks about. Sorry, continue.
The Civ Brain Rot is basically just like long-term goals I have and then edits for myself. So I can quickly go into that because again, since we have the 5 stars and 5 families, something I've gotten a little too carried away with is like, what would be really cool is if this, does get out and like has a big enough fan base. I think it'd be cool to see, like, those like old like BuzzFeed quizzes of like, here's what character you would be in this piece of media. Like, here's what family you'd be a part of. Here's what star would haunt your existence. And then the other one that I really like haunting me, like full on, like, it's just something I want so badly. There is I listen to a lot of music, and there's a particular song that I've liked for a while, but I listened to it again recently after getting a long section of the story done, and just the song, both like the lyrics of it and like the sound design of it, I'm like, this would be so perfect for like an animatic or like a book trailer, an animated book trailer, and I'm obsessed with it, and I would think it'd be really cool if I could like pull off like having like a animation to this song for my book. So that's like I have zero artistic talent, but I have it like 98% storyboarded, like frame by frame in my head, and I'm like, fuck, man.
Baby steps, one step at a time.
I know. I'm like, I love and hate that I have this in my brain, because like I need it, but
Hey, it's an aspiration to work towards.
It is. That's why it's there. So you'll always be like, right there, right there. So, yeah. Now stop looking at the spoilers.
But they were so intriguing. All right. Let's see. Where were we? He sat his ass down on a chair. An icy finger crawled. There we go.
Yep.
An icy finger crawled down my spine. His eyes were definitely glowing. The stare was both vacant and intense, like I was being crushed by the weight of a composed of nothingness. It stared at me, patient and obedient, bringing the taste of salt water back to my tongue. Stare unbreaking. I extend a hand towards my table, feeling for my mug. My hands wrapped gingerly around the warm ceramic, pulling it towards my face. I stopped, something in my peripheral vision signaling me something was wrong. Glancing momentarily to the mug, gently held against my lips. The liquid was still dark, but it no longer appeared to be black coffee I craved. Swirling within was the murky green waters from my mom's stories, from Liam's journal entries. My heart began to race as I returned to the stare. It was smiling. Panic bubbled within, spreading like the oil underneath my skin, pushing me to my breaking point. I could feel myself shaking, cold and trapped, my mind filled with salty mist that suffocated any rational thought. The cold had all but entirely consumed my body, but the slightest of embers remained. With so much of my body overwhelmed with the cold, it was nearly impossible to feel the warmth, let alone isolate where the sensation emanated from. My eyes turned to the sickly liquid still hovering next to my face. A subtle warmth still pressed against my hand, a tiny flame praying me to keep me grounded. Fuck you. Salt coated my words like a bitter venom, turning my blade against its wielder. My eyes clenched shut as I dumped the liquid into my mouth. Warmth spread about my body like a backwards hug as my mouth was greeted with familiar bitterness. I held myself there, and in that perfect, still darkness, letting the cold fall from my body like beads of sweat. Asta? Liam's voice cut open my silence, and I forced back into the moment. I set my now empty mug back down, the warmth gone from within. My heart skipped as I returned my gaze to him. I could no longer see his eyes in the darkness of the room. Turn on that lamp would you? A satisfying click was followed by a wash of yellow light filling the room, illuminating his human features. So, want to tell me what the hell just happened? His confused, innocent stare was telling. I held up the journal still perched on my lap. Let's start here then. Whatever you know, whatever you think you know. My grip tightened around it. I'm sure he could see the whiteness of my knuckles around the dim light. Everything needs to be on the table. Right now. He stiffened, the lax confidence of the previous presence now completely dissolved. Fuck. There was an understanding in his voice. Whatever just happened, he had experienced it before. I think. No, I'm sorry. He sighed heavily. I know, that was Nocturne, or a piece of it. A fragment of its consciousness that I can communicate with. Oh, sorry, that was a quote. I know, that was Nocturne. Or a piece of it.
a fragment of its consciousness that I can communicate with? Confusion melted from his words. It calls me its dreamer. Well, it doesn't exactly speak, so much as it makes me feel what it wants me to know. Okay, I cut him off. I'm getting tired of hearing... I'm sorry, Civ. Where your cursor is, your name pops up and it covers the next line.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to move it down as you read, just like I know where I'm going to as well.
This party's getting crazy. Let's rock.
Actually, I'm gonna take a second to address the raiders who have just raided. Hi, Renike. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate that. Hello, raiders. If you don't know me already, my name is Winter Rain, Ice Dragon VTuber, Dungeon Master, and Variety Gamer. And today, we have a special stream with my friend Sivna, who is a author of the book that we are currently reading, which is currently in its first draft. Sivna, can you introduce to yourself? To everyone, words?
Yes. Hello, my name is Sivna Repos. I am an Abyssal Dragon VTuber who, yes, as Winter has said, I am technically, by definition, an author of this first draft reading. My confidence isn't the highest, but Winter is doing a great job of making me feel a lot better. So.
Renike, ready to hear to strap you down. Oh, strap me down. Am I in trouble? That's
sorry,
a raid message.
He's already held hostage by my Eldritch Madness. So sorry. You can have the next round though.
Alrighty, so let's get back at this. Oh, I keep forgetting to do this. I'm a bad streamer. Let's see. Shout out Raniki Sunshine. Yay! Yeah, we're having a good time. This has been a fun thing. Oh, Mox, thank you for the thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Where am I? Right. Okay. So we were just getting to the essentially a what's the word? Interview, not interview. It's more aggressive than that. It's like a
interrogation.
Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. It's more of an interrogation of like two young adults being like, "Hey, what's going on? I'm having some eldritch nightmares."
Mm-hmm.
Well, not so much nightmares. It just happens.
Liam gets a little too familiar with being interrogated.
I see. Mox, strapping down is not common here, unless you want it to be. But we do that mostly on Thursdays. Anyway. Okay, where are we? Okay, I cut him off. I'm getting tired of hearing my name being used like it's some kind of presence. Or being. It's a name. He nodded. Yes, the name of a star. His eyes wandered upwards, landing on the glowing stickers decorating my ceiling. What, like my mom's stories? I followed his gaze, suddenly trying to recall my phantom memories of her voice. Most likely, I suppose. What else are in those stories? I glared at him, unhappy that now I was the one being asked questions. It's been years, so the finer details... I set the journal next to me, postponing my own questions for the millionth time. They were all about these special stars that no one knew existed. As I spoke, the dots seemed to connect themselves in my mind. But Noctane was never one of them. Probably because she wanted to keep you in the dark. His voice was low, his gaze landing knowingly on the journal. The things in my dreams... who's talking right now?
Liam.
This is Liam still? Okay. The things in my dreams. I can't imagine anyone would wish that upon their daughter. I chuckled as I could still clearly recall the fervor she spoke about in her stories. She wanted me to know about them, just not about her or myself. That being said, do you remember anything about the stars she did tell you about? It's likely the stories she told you weren't exactly stories. His gaze was surprisingly gentle as he returned to me. Ah, fuck. I sighed, turning my gaze to the stickers on the ceiling, recalling how Mom would point at several of them, relaying their funny names. Those stories had felt like a secret world she had built just for me. Now it feels like the key to whatever nightmare I just inherited. My eyes landed on 2 stickers that were slightly overlapped. The twins. I remember them. A smile crossed across my face. Her stories were the easiest to fall asleep to. Lear. The sound rolled from my mouth. Lear? Okay. Lear. The sound rolled from my mouth, my tongue instinctively flicking the roof of my mouth to form the foreign sound. Liam's attention seemed to be pulled elsewhere once the name fell from the air, but I was focused on recalling the second that I did follow. And this one always gives me trouble. I cleared my throat, preparing for the gravelly sound I was about to force through. What does it say?
Keekiton.
Keekiton?
Keekiton.
Keekiton.
There you go.
Keekiton. Each consonant was like a dagger in the air, so potent I swore my vision blurred for a moment. Yeah, that. Liam's eyes were so glued to my small desk lamp. Those are for sure their names. The yellow light emitted by the lamp seemed stronger than as it danced around my room with streaks of orange, making my room far brighter than before. Liam. My voice was firm. I wasn't ready for more surprises. The fuck is that? I hissed, my eyes following the dancing streams of light that filled my room with visions of summer sunrise. Well, he said their names. He seemed just as entranced as I was, but a little less guarded. And we've said nocturne like a dozen times since we've met. No weird shit happened then. I couldn't pull my gaze to glare at him. They don't all work the same. There was a hint of condescension in his voice that I didn't appreciate. And weird shit has happened. It just hasn't been obvious. He was looking at me now, somehow able to pull his eyes away. Frustration began to bubble in my mind as my gaze was still being puppeteered. I could see his attention moving from my periphery, unable to catch where his gaze had landed. My mind told me his eyes looked different, but I couldn't be sure as water was welling below my eyes as I realized I didn't even blink. I opened my mouth, only to have my words choked back by panic. Tell them to stop. As if reading my mind, my unspoken words, Liam spoke to me in a measured, low tone. The dancing lights moved past him, allowing me a glance. A gentle, humming green aura fell from his eyes, like cloudy tears. My eyes were pulled away, burning more with every spin and a wave of the lights, throwing my thoughts a whirl alongside them. Tell them to stop. Those words echoed in my mind, reverberating off a shape in my mind, making it a clearer image with every bounce and reiteration. My vision was little more than yellow and orange pain that ceaselessly fed the dizzying pyre in my mind. Tell them to stop. It sounded like they were simply misbehaving children. I wanted to laugh. Just stop. I thought I was over, repeating like a mantra, a silent prayer to extinguish the flames that licked at the corners of my mind. Just stop. Again and again, my throat began to burn too. My mind went dark. I had either gone blind or was able to finally close my eyes. A bedroom door made a frightening sound as it was thrown open. Someone was shouting. His voice was familiar, but the words didn't make sense. The letters that formed his words floated around me in my mind as I tried to piece them together. I knew they should make sense. I've known them my entire life. Everything felt so strange. Even the warm embrace from thin arms that made me feel so safe. A polarizing feeling, but a welcome one that ushered me to sleep.
What the hell did I just read? What the hell did I just read?
Alright.
I was so entranced in like trying to be in Asta's state of mind to really voice it out, but like the other half of me is trying to interpret what the fuck is going on. By evoking the other stars' name, stuff was happening, and she just couldn't seem to control her own gaze. And I honestly feel like I have to reread that whole paragraph to understand what just happened, because hot damn, that was a rock.
Yeah, it is. Yes. This paragraph was a lot of fun to read. One thing I want to quickly point out, the tell them to stop line right here. This is still Liam's. It is Liam who told
that's
her.
Liam. I thought it was
and
Asta trying to like tell Liam to tell him to stop because he knows what's going on.
So he said tell them to stop, as if reading my mind, my unspoken words. Liam spoke to me in a measured low tone.
Oh.
And then every time it comes back, it's her like rethinking of them, like tell them to stop. The words echoed in my mind, reverberating off a shape in my mind, making it clearer with every bounce and reiteration. So she's constantly thinking about the way he said tell them to stop, and something's happening in her head while her eyes are very much being controlled by lights or manifestations of Tyr and Kakitan.
I am very much enraptured and I need to reread this again. So, let me get this straight. Carrot cake.
Yeah.
What's his name again?
I mean, Kakitan.
Say it one more time.
Kakitan.
Ekiton. Okay, so really gotta emphasize the apostrophe. Ekiton.
Yes.
Ekiton. Ekiton.
Perfect.
Yeah, she's evoking all these names, and therefore stuff's happening. So what exactly happened? Let's review real quick. So Asta doesn't see it, but Liam clearly does, and she can't see it because actually, hold on. I could see his attention moving from my periphery, unable to catch where his gaze had landed. My mind told me his eyes looked different, but I couldn't tell as... Okay, so this next line here, behind there, I couldn't be sure as water was welling below my eyes. So her eyes are watering because she hasn't been blinking. Why has she been blinking? I'm thinking because she's so enraptured in looking at his eyes, because...
Not his eyes. She said unable to catch where his gaze had landed.
Unable to catch where his gaze had landed. So she cannot physically see where he is looking.
Correct. If you look just a little further up, where she says, "The fuck is happening?" I hissed, my eyes following the dancing streams of light that filled my room with visions of summer sunrise. From that point on, her eyes are following the lights around her room.
Okay. Yeah, hold on, let's see. My voice was firm. I wasn't ready for any more surprise. The fuck is that? She is following the dancing streams of light that filled my room with vision. Okay, and before that, yeah, he was looking at the small desk lamp. Because I think what triggered this for me was the fact that he was looking at a light and then something started happening. Those sure are their names. The yellow light emitted the lamp seems stirring. There it is. The yellow light emitted by the lamp seemed stronger as it danced around my room with streaks of orange. Because she just said yellow light by the lamp, so there shouldn't be streaks of orange, and yet here there is. Making room far brighter before, so it's mixing of it. Like the yellow light is the normal light, and so what's up?
Think about what she said. Go back up just a little more. My eyes landed on two stickers that were slightly overlapped. The twins. I remember them. Lahir and Kakitan.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have yellow and orange light.
Oh. Oh, that's very subtle. Way like my small pea brain, smooth ass brain does not pick that up. But I see it now that you're mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
The twins, I remember. And again, because like maybe this is an excuse, but because I am just trying to embody the characters and reading it, that that I'm missing some of these hints.
That's okay. That's another reason I'm like, I want to be here, because I don't know if all this is going to necessarily land like on like the first read, especially like a streamed read where you're trying to like make sure it's like coming out in a way that's like, good to listen to while also picking up on every little bit yourself. Because
Like,
there is a lot. I'm subtle.
I will
some shit.
Yeah, and I absolutely, like, I will say this in full confidence. I love all of these subtleties because some of them I'm picking up, some of them I'm not. But again, that could also be because my attention is split 3 different ways. One being me, the speaker, me, the reader, and me looking at chat.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Like, I not offended in any way.
It actually kind of reminds me of how, like, I don't know about you, but I grew up watching a lot of Green Game Grumps.
Yes.
And it's always a common thing of like, man, Aaron sucks at video games. Why does he read the tutorial and all that? And like, after becoming a VTuber, I realized that, yeah, actually, a lot of your attention is kind of split from the thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, if you were to stop and lock in on your task at hand, you're going to do way better than if you're looking at 3 different things. And even though you look like you're locked in, really, in reality, your mind is in different places. So it's like, And when it comes to reading a book with all these subtleties and mysteries and being like, ooh, what's happening? It's like, I'm going to miss some shit.
Like, it'd be a totally different experience. Like, I bet, like, you know, in a perfect world where, like, you know, this is really, I have a physical copy, you can curl up in, like, a comfy chair in a corner and just, like, fully get into it. Yeah, I would hope people would be able to, like, pick up, be like, oh, the twins, we have 2 star names, and all of a sudden, yellow and orange lights are flying around her room that we can't look away from. Like, that, I feel like that would piece itself together, like, a bit more if your, like, full attention is on it. So
I do like how, because, and I really like this because, like, the with the lamp, I mean, at first glance, lamp, yellow light, yes, of course, that's normal, right? And then you're saying how, like, the twins, 2 stickers there were overlapped to represent the twins of these 2 stars. Orange and yellow are colors pretty close to each other on the color spectrum. And for them to both be emitting from this lamp, it's like, oh, it's normal at first because it's just yellow, but like, yeah, yellow and orange, and they're kind of like overlapping, like, oh, that very much does give this imagery of these twin stars, these things that are very close to each other. Like, I think this was like, maybe there's more to it, maybe there isn't, and I'm just overthinking this, but I really like the color choice here for the twins because it feels like, yeah, they're very much meant to be overlapped. They're very much meant to be like there with each other, kind of thing.
I like the vision, like the color theory behind the stars, all of them has been something that's been. It's something that I did have planned, like, before I even got to this point. Like, I had their identities and everything set beforehand, and then it's like, okay, now how do I then use them as tools and plot points and use them in the universe? And then this moment happened to be like to show that, like, not just Noctane is present, that the others are here, and then that also brings in the question, okay, why does Asta speaking 2 stars that she's, like, not connected with? Why is this happening?
Because, yeah, she essentially shares the name. Actually, I think that's what I wanted to say before. The fact that her name is Asta Nocturne, at least was supposed to be, before the legal stuff changed it. but she essentially shares the name of this entity, this star. And I'm thinking that, yeah, weird shit doesn't really happen when you talk to Nocturne because you're connected. You share the name of the star. But now that you are evoking the names of other stars where you have no real connection of, maybe they're there to mess with you. Maybe they're there to be like, you know how like your other words here, where they say, where's the words here? You said, tell them to stop. It sounded like they were simply misbehaving children. I wanted to laugh. Well, now I'm thinking the twins. Thinking them as children. It's like, hey, look at me. And thus forcefully making her look at them. I think that's a nice little tie-in. I don't know if that was calculated. I don't know if you were meant to do that. But I really like the fact that seems, in my mind anyway, that it ties in together.
It definitely is just like ways I'm sprinkling in like their identities without, you know, fully like
you
just
have
like
a way with words, Civ. And I am very impressed and like with your writing here.
Thank you.
I can't wait to read more. And I can't wait to read the final product.
Thank you. With the name thing, with Asta being Asta Nocturne, thing I do want to quickly point out. I know we didn't go through the summary on this one, but using the names also isn't uncommon. In the summary here, now they all sing through the rift that connects our skies, melodies of madness, percussions of power, and lullabies of loss. Groups, cults, and families have formed under these stars, adopting their names and singing songs.
Oh, yes, right.
So, the concept of people, families, sharing the names of the stars isn't terribly uncommon in universe. I mean, again, we don't meet too many of the members, at least yet, but there are individuals with the last name here. There are individuals with the last name Ke'Ekitan. And that is just like a baseline that you should get from summary of like, okay, we have families under these stars. Like Nocturne isn't, I mean, it's a strange as hell last name. Like, fuck did that come from, right? But simply, just everyday people going around being like, oh, hey, Miss Nocturne, like it's a bit of a unique name, but they might not necessarily experience anything strange. So the fact that I'm aiming for that to be like a baseline understanding of the universe, so that way people are like, okay, normal, like these words and names can be used. Why does this fuckery happen when, in this case, Asta says their name? Why, effectively, like, what is making her so some kind of like what's going on? But at this point, not a lot.
I see. You broke up a little bit there, but I think I got the most of your message. Yeah, it's definitely a point to keep in the back of your mind when things are happening. Mm-hmm. And I'm beginning to wonder, and maybe this is that in your summary or whatnot, but I'm curious as to why the star named the Night Star is not only green, but also why the sea. Because personally, I don't link the sea with the stars. The very closest thing I can think of is like that tale about the moon controlling the tide. So now I'm wondering, oh, you did say that each of the stars and whatnot have their own kind of domain, so maybe perhaps Nocturne, the night star, is domain is the water, or like something like that. Whereas the twins with their, and I'm just like throwing stuff at the wall right now, the twins seeing these streaks of yellow and orange evoke imagery in my mind of shooting stars, like streaks across the sky, something like that. I don't know, I'm just I'm just thinking of what, so I don't actually know.
So that is somewhat addressed in the summary, and I did read part of it. I can go through the rest of it here quick, just to kind of give a little bit of context as to that there is just some baseline strangeness with so yeah, in the middle of the summary here. Noctane, the first star, was once shattered by its brethren. Their overlapping cacophony overwhelmed the ancient star, cursing its existence. Death, however, always leads to life. A shard of Noctane pierced the boundary of the forgotten sky, plummeting into the oceans of Earth. Within the sky, Noctane was reformed, but forever changed, while the lone shard spun a melody in its calling to humanity.
God, I love a good mystery.
So, yes, going into it, assuming people read the summaries, like the back of the book blurb or whatever, be like, okay, yes, so Noctane, the first star, okay. And for whatever reason, the other stars, however many of them there may or may not be, we have 2 other confirmed ones so far in the story, they collectively overwhelm Noctane for whatever reason and shattered it. They, broke one of their own. But with that power of, that first ancient star of the night breaking, a shard of it, breaks the boundary between their world in the forgotten sky and makes a rift into the sky that we know, a galaxy of humanity. And then that lone shard falls into humanity's oceans, sleeping and slumbering. And then forever there is just a bridge from our world to their sky, which they all begin singing through, which, what connects them to humanity's. Get the families we will come to know and love and hate, depending on depending.
I see. I was like, as soon as you were gonna say the word love, I was like, but there's something else there.
Some of them you may like, most of them you probably won't. There is also going to be themes like playing like the human condition and like what humanity is capable of when presented with this power, this knowledge, or just the very potential of it. And then like just the influence of what these stars, their desire, them, like that influence on humanity and how that may bring out the best or the worst in most cases of people, and what there's some dark things I have set in the spoiler section.
Goodness, I'm beginning to think that we really should have started off with the summary.
Like probably, but like that's the main thing, is that like that's something that's just come up, is that Noctane is the first star. It was shattered by its brethren, overwhelmed by their collective song, and that is why we now have merging the Forgotten Sky to Earth, and basically how all of this has started. And we know that from its destruction and reformation, that Noctane has forever changed. We don't know how Noctane's original existence may necessarily differ from how it is now. But through reading the summary, we know that it's different. So that's why there's that of, okay, night star, but why green and why water? Right.
And why 3 green specks under Asta's eyes when she closes them? Shattered star, 3 green dots under her eyelids. Curious. But we'll have to learn more next time we do this reading, because I would love to continue this, and I would love to even go over any of your changes, any things that you'd like to rewrite in the future if you would like to do this again.
I would love to do this again, and as I said at the beginning, after we read Recollection, I plan on rewriting that entire chapter to be instead from the mother's perspective instead of through Est, and then go into Est as we hit the second chapter. So if I have that done by the next time we set this, I can absolutely have us like, hey, go back and read the revised first chapter. Different.
Yeah.
I was making some comments for myself to be like, of just like things to, I don't know if you can see my comments popping up, but I have made some notes for myself going through this. Because I can read it 1,000,000 times to myself and like not catch the things that other people would catch, because if something's like conveyed wrong, like for better or for worse, I know all the things. So if something's connected or not fully complete in its thought or doesn't land the way that I'm hoping it does, I'm not necessarily going to catch that. And that's why I'm like really wanting other people to read it, because I need to know what's landing, what's not, what thoughts are being spun, like is this leading down the correct path potentially, like what's happening in people's minds as they read it. Because of course I can read it and be like, well, duh, obviously you'll be able to connect those two dots, but in reality, can they?
Exactly, because you already know all the information, so
exactly.
Other people will be getting it for the first time.
Exactly. I can see all those like flags and hints and everything because I put them there. I know what they're leading to. Other people won't necessarily know what's important. I mean, obviously I have it said that like colors are pretty important, that I try and make like very clear, like, yes, people have eye colors and they are being highlighted aggressively.
I want to pause you real quick. Reniki does have a comment for you.
Okay. Your book for the bit of her, Drake. Oh, thank you, Rennick. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
That said, Reniki and Dark, have a fantastic rest of your night. We're actually going to be wrapping up soon, so we're not going to miss too much. But have a fantastic rest of your night, both of you, and an even better morning. I'll see you next time, and I'll talk to you in the group chats, because I know that we're doing something at some point for Minecraft. But yeah, take care.
Ooh.
Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Sorry, Siv, you were saying.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Still stream behind the reading of the book, so that's perfectly okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I honestly look really forward to like continuing doing stuff like, because like I told you before, this is kind of the content I wanted to do, but it's like D&D.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this has been a lot of fun, very insightful. Like being able to like have like little discussions of like even like, okay, here's what I'm reading, maybe read to, like being able to hear like the thoughts as they're happening, so you can be like, okay, what's landing, what's not, like all the things I just said, like just knowing if my hints are landing, if they're leading the way I need them to for everything that I have planned to hit. So far, things have been going well. Like I've had to kind of steer you a little bit here, but again, I'm chalking that up to streamer also, not curled up with 100% focus.
Yeah.
So I would say I am satisfied with how well my hints and things are landing. Of course, I'm hoping to hear back from the other dragons to be like...
Of course. Oh, you know what we should do? We should gather all the people who have read it and just have like a big discussion. Just a big...
I thought about like making like a group chat about
club.
it.
Yeah.
Book club. I'll see who's all interested in being into something like that. Maybe we'll have book club for this.
Yeah, I think that'd be really neat.
Me too. I really want all the opinions that I can get. I want this to be as successful as I see it in my head that it could be. Because I really do.
I mean-
I have high hopes.
I mean, hell, I want to
I'm
see.
a pessimist,
I want to see
but
this.
I have high hopes.
I want to see this in a hardcover book one day. I want to see that.
Oh, am I dying?
I didn't
longer
hear
hear
you if you
anything.
said anything. No. You okay? Hello.
Ruh-roh.
You good? You good? Hello. Hello. Testing. Testing.
Why? Hello?
I can hear you. I don't know if you
Nope.
said anything before though.
My audio has died. What has happened?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Hello?
Hello?
My headset deadass shut itself off and did not yell at me to say it was shutting itself off.
Oh no.
Normally it beeps when it turns off, but it was just like, nah, I'm out, chief. Like, thanks.
Well, we did go for almost 4 hours. I don't know if you can still hear me. Can you still hear me right now?
Shit, seriously. I can. Yes, now I can. I turned my headset back on.
Okay, well, obviously your headset's dying. I feel like my earbuds are about to die too.
Not.
So it is a good time to stop here.
Yes, I agree. I work in the morning, so I shouldn't stay up too much later. I did not think we would make it this far. I didn't know how far we would. I didn't think we'd make it to confrontation. So
Yes, for those who don't know, well, literally none of you would because we have the document. The next chapter is called Confrontation, which has some ominous undertones to that, but we will see what happens next time we do this reading. Is there something you want to do with more novels? I actually wanted to do this type of stuff for a long time, but it turns out for published books, you need to have a license to stream that shit.
yes.
So this is
But
a
guess
unique
what?
situation where this book is only on its first draft, and it's going to be like polished even further, and it hasn't been published yet, and therefore it's okay since I'm talking to the author herself.
Hi. Yes, I am all for this. So
But that said, with more books and chapters and such on the way, Civ, you do have someone to do something like this with, so I am always free to do this kind of stuff.
I'm sure I'll be messaging you to arrange your next reading. Hopefully not too far off, because I don't want you to forget everything you've been learning.
Oh, I'm super stoked for this. Are you kidding me? I almost kind of want to just read it like ahead of time just to get it, but then you won't get my full reaction on stream if it did that.
And I do really appreciate it. Just like the initial hits of like, hey, what happened here? You know?
Yeah.
So.
This has been tons of fun, and I look forward to the next one. But that said,
Me
it is
too.
getting late, and then both of us work in the morning because, goddamn, money.
Yes.
Let's go find someone to raid. Let's see who's online right now. Ooh.
Here's Aki is.
Yeah, Aki's online. What does he do? Oh, he's playing Deltarune. I've never actually played
the new
that.
Deltarune.
Wait,
The
it's
new, the new chapters dropped tomorrow. I think we're getting chapter 3 tomorrow, and the internet is in an up. So
It comes in chapters?
Aki's going back through 1 and 2. Yeah. I've only ever played chapter 1. I didn't know chapter 2 dropped, but I think we're getting 3 and 4 tomorrow, so people are kind of freaking out.
Oh goodness. Okay, yeah, I mean that seems pretty exciting. Let's drop all of y'all off at Aki Asman. He is another member of the Dragon's Council. Please send him some love and tell him he smells. I'm kidding, don't do that. Let's go
Stinky
slash
auto dragon.
sneaky auto dragon. Yeah, he's one of the few seasonal dragons. Well, obvious seasonal dragons. He is a dragon who is well, you'll see when you see him. It's very obvious. Okay. Thank you again for everyone who stopped by, and thank you, Civ, for joining me for this. This was super fun. I can't wait for the next one.
Yes.
And all you lurkers, I'm not gonna say who, but thank you again for keeping me in your tabs. And I will see you guys next time. And remember, actually, wait, Civ, before we depart, tell them how they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me here on Twitch at SivnaVT. Pretty easy to find. Yeah, I don't know. I stream League of Legends and write novels, apparently.
You have a Twitter and other social media things that you want to share?
I do SivnaVT pretty much across Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube, TikTok. I have some funny shorts. You might enjoy them.
Nice. Alrighty. That's it from us, and I will see you guys tomorrow where I have a collab with Goddess Morax. We are finishing off, actually I say finishing off, we might have like a lot to do for Portal 2. I'll see you guys then. And remember everyone, stay frosty. And we go, raid, go. Where is my ending screen? There it is.